Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, Episode 71, where we are going to get into the bias in games media and misinformation, Xbox backtracking on the $80 Outer Worlds 2, Sony and Bandai Namco's announcement of a strategic alliance, and much more. But before we get into that, we're going to jump in and see what everybody's been playing. Weeb, how are you, man, and what have you been playing?
Hello, I'm good. Yeah, what else? Death Stranding 2, of course. Gotta meet that package delivery quota, right?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I know you already finished it, but like I just can't help myself. Like I'm still stuck at chapter 8, and I'm just like, oh yeah, package, let's deliver it.
No. Chapter 8 is just really like the calm before the storm. Like they basically let you kind of, that's like the most freedom you'll have until you start to push the story, and then once you start to push the story, it'll basically almost push you to the end. So yeah, trust me,
Yeah,
you're doing it right.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like because I think that's sort of what stopped you from I think platting the first game, right? That when you have to go back to the areas like beginning where then everything was just broken down, the roads were deteriorated, shit like that. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to get into that situation. So I decide, okay, just finish everything in your area, try to maximize their level, so I don't ever have to go back there and
Exactly.
just move on. Um, which I hope the story doesn't force me to go back there. But yeah, I'll you can keep it to yourself if you know. But but yeah, I mean yeah, I mean it is still like an amazing game. So it's sort of like I've been saying, it's sort of therapeutical. You know, you're you're just oh yeah, relaxing, delivering packages, occasionally fighting some ghosts like a proper Ghostbuster, and then just or Pokemon trainer, I guess, because I can now capture them.
Yeah.
um, which is pretty cool. Like though I did make the mistake, like when I got to the point where you get the ability and they immediately sort of drop you like in an area with a boss BT so you can capture it. Except the first time I tried it, I actually snuck past the first one uh, and immediately went to the second one, which were three BTs, three boss BTs at the same time. I'm like, fuck me, because you
Yeah.
were supposed to, beat the first one, which is a single boss, and just capture that one and use that one to distract the other three, and just yeah, weaken them until you can capture one. So yeah, they totally wrecked me the the first time
Yeah, you
around.
and I did the same thing. That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, great minds. Yeah. And I did see you there, Morgan. I did see your trail, so I like that.
Hey.
Everybody's finding Morgan.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I didn't find you guys for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
Even
I
I
found
guess
you gotta find something they did first,
yeah,
because then
yeah.
like once I like found a generator and Morgan was playing and she was like, "Oh, it said you use my generator," and I was like, "Huh?" Because like I mean I like yeah like I had the level 2 road, so I'm just like flying, and I just like flew past it doing like 100, and then when she said that I turned around and then I went to go give it like 150 likes, and then
Yeah,
it upped
yeah.
our strand connection. Then I saw another one of hers, and then I liked that more, and it upped our strand connection more. So now, more often than not, if there is something that she built, I will see it. So I did notice that.
I
Yeah, same
tried.
like
I I went
yeah.
to back to Mexico thinking maybe I can find something from you guys, but nope, couldn't. And I looked everywhere, including the other area too. So
Yeah.
it's just frustrating that you have friends, they're friends with you, and you still can't find them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Guess we're
Omar,
not friends, Omar.
Omar, did you go in and do the initial strand contract under your
Yeah, I did.
friends? Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, and by the way,
But,
this is the interesting part is you're if you so what happened, and this is true story for me. I saved literally, and then at the moment that I saw um uh generator got built in front an area for me. When I reloaded that area, that generator was no more.
yeah,
So
you told us that last week. Yeah.
okay. Uh,
The immediate. Oh, okay.
My bad. My bad.
Um,
I'm dead.
but okay, yeah, okay. But great game. We'll keep on playing it. Go for the plat, and if anybody's still on the fence, just buy it.
Yeah,
Shut up,
Yeah,
buy it. Yeah.
agreed. Um, Morgan, how are you, ma'am? And what have you been playing?
I'm good. Um, yeah, it's been one of those tired weeks for me. Just been working a lot, so I just been too exhausted to just jump into Death Stranding, but I wanted to play something.
Mm-hmm.
So I played Eric's Home: The Stolen Dream.
Okay.
It's an indie game, top down, kind of old school stealth game. Um, it's been on my wish list for a while now. Like I've been eyeing it ever since we saw it. Like I think like last year at like the PC showcase, I believe it was, or indie showcase. One of the mini showcases. I can't
Yeah.
keep up with how many showcases we watch. But this is why it's always important to watch every gaming showcase, because I know people like to stick to like like the game awards or the summer showcase or like the specific PlayStation or Xbox showcases, but there's indie showcases, there's PC showcases, there's dedicated like showcases for indie publishers, and it's just there's so many different ones that you can miss really great games, that you would otherwise probably really be interested in because you're not looking at these other showcases. So always, like, whenever you see a showcase being announced on Twitter or YouTube or something, always check it out. It's always worth your time. But
Absolutely.
anyway, yeah. So play Eric's Home. Nice, fun game. Really beautiful for how you know small the team is and everything like that.
Yeah,
They
they
put a
did
lot of
an
detail into
incredible
it.
job.
Yeah, beautiful game. Even yeah, obviously it's beautiful in the cutscenes, and it's also beautiful just through gameplay. Um, it's about I would say it's like between like in like a 10 to 12 hour game. A little bit more if you plan on going to the plat. Like the plat is not difficult at all. Like this is probably like one of the easier plats. Like you get most of your trophies by just playing, and the other ones are like getting the collectibles, but the collectibles are really easy. And the way they structured the game, they have a chapter select. So if you miss anything, you can just go back, and you don't have to complete the chapter select. You can go to the specific part where you uh forgot to get a collectible and just grab it, and then go back to the home screen and go back to what you were doing. There's no need to finish a chapter, or have to do anything, or worry about if you finish the game, oh, do I have to play the entire game over in order for the collectible to count? Because that's something that you had to do for Guardians of the Galaxy, which made me so mad because I forgot a collectible in the very last chapter in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I had to start the entire game over for the collectible to count. But for this one, you don't have to do that, which is great. But yeah, the story itself, really good. I was really intrigued with it. I really liked the gameplay. It had really funny moments in the game. Enjoyed the main character and the cast. Funny enough, I thought we were only going to be playing with one specific character, but you play with multiple, and each character has different a different gameplay style, and you have to. There's some chapters where you have to play with multiple different characters, and you have to use each of their strengths in order to get through a level. And obviously, like most of it is stealth. So you're sneaking, you're using each person and the ability that they have to get through the level. And a lot of the times it's like a beautiful symphony because you have to use all three characters at the same time. You know, you have to distract with one and then use another one to move an object and then use another one to maybe stealthily knock somebody out. So it's it's very good at making utilize each character very well, and I enjoyed it because when it came together, it was really fun. Um, but yeah, I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Really enjoyed my time with it. Um, really no complaints about it whatsoever. Very smooth. I didn't experience any kind of bugs or glitches. Finished it in like 2 3 days. But yeah, if you are interested in kind of a smaller game that you can kind of get through real quick, that's actually really good. Yeah, play Eric's Home, the Stolen Dream. I think it's only 35 $40. So yeah, really enjoyed my time with that. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I just hopped back onto Death Stranding um just now and just seeing all the likes that I missed out. The one thing I do like about Death Stranding 2 is the because I haven't played in like 4 or 5 days. You know, it
Hmm.
gives you kind of that. I think
That
it notices
summary.
that, and it gives you your story summary, just just in case you don't remember what the last thing you did was, which is always a nice touch for games that I appreciate.
No,
But yeah,
I agree.
that's what I've been playing.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of really good things about that game. The endorsement from you, another smaller reviewer. I know they got an early copy. He was ranting and raving about it, so there's definitely something I'm looking forward to getting into after I finish the platinum run for
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2, which is in an arduous state at this point. Just from
Ooh.
trying,
Yes.
yeah, trying to get through the rest of these likes for some of these guys is just so tough. So some of them are very easy because you just um some of them require like massive orders, and like, hey, whenever that standard order comes up, it's gonna give me like 1,200 likes or something minimum whenever I do it, and then like, but there's so many small orders where it's like you do that standard order, and sometimes it's like far, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty far, it's a recovery, so you got to go all the way over there and then all the way back, and then they're like, here's 250 likes or something, and I'm like, are you serious? And it gives you like, a tenth of like just the smallest percentage of that last or fifth star. So yeah, it's definitely something where it's gonna take a bit. Some people definitely had some crazy luck working out how they were able to get through the platinum for this game so fast.
I
Because
I
it's
I, I did
rough.
did hear that if you give an order for entrusted for delivery, that you get like most of the likes from that. So it
I did
might
hear
save you some
something
time.
about that. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I've been entrusting orders for some stuff, so I have been doing that. But yeah, I wasn't aware that. I thought you only got the likes that initially popped up when you entrusted, but I didn't know once it was delivered by someone else that you got more.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Like I've been driving all across the map for two packages, and then like, fuck, I could have just gave like the time I took to get there was like just the same time it would have taken for them to be delivered by somebody else.
Exactly. What's up? I see Thrifty popped in and Salazar. What's going on, guys? Um, but yeah, wild times. Um, Omar, how are you, man? And what have you been playing, sir?
Yeah, some people this week was not the best week for me. Food poisoning, infection, but that's life. We move on. On the gaming front, though, I got the plat in Eric Home, like Morgan. So this one is interesting because unlike Morgan, I actually played the demo, but I'm not gonna lie, the demo doesn't even uh, show you anything for what the game is going to be. And the funny thing about it is, I'm no stranger to games like this. Like, I played Shadow Complex, not Shadow Complex, Shadow something, the one with the Japanese era. I played the one with the pirate era. All of them were unique and different and I loved Desperado 3. So I came in with an amazing expectation and I was left puzzled to how simplistic but how cool it is. They limit you to just three characters, I think. I forgot the amount. And they also limit you to just one skill per character, which you would think it's easy, but no, the timing needs to be meticulous or else you're screwed. Um, I also want to give a shout out to this one when it comes to what you call it, the platinum is one of the easiest to do. Like they respect your time so much that if you miss what you call it, a collectible, all you need to do is to go to a certain chapter of the game, go to a certain part of the chapter, and find the collectible and quit. You don't even need to finish the mission. Like Joe, that's crazy. Like the dev understood the assignment. People want quick plus. You already beat the game, now you can enjoy it. With for the plot if you want. Like highly recommended. Story was phenomenal. Voice acting insane. Uh, character interaction. I love it when character interact with others and you don't get just a robot at your hand. So yeah, no, was phenomenal. There were moments where felt that this game reminded me of a Brothers of Tales 2 Son, with how close the character bond with each other were. With that being said, just like Morgan, get it. I highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it.
No
And now
doubt.
for the next game, The Banisher. I started it finally. Um, at I beat the first boss. Well, first actual boss,
Yeah.
because the title screen boss is not. You can't beat it. Um, I love. I love that I'm like Batman, but old school, and you're exploring. You're looking for leads. You're asking people questions. You're asking interrogations, and then the combat. And uh, so far, it's one-dimensional, but it's fun. It's passable. Um, I just got my second weapon, I think, and it's fun. It's cool. The story is interesting. It's keeping you on your toe, and the emotion of it, it it genuinely makes you question who is the good guy in all of this. I'm going for the plot, hopefully, so I'm going to be the bad guy as well. So it's super interesting that so far I can't legit find a single character that's a good guy. Not even the main character. That's the fun thing about it, which is rare in the day and age that characters actually admit, like, yeah, no, we're shitty people. So yeah, I do recommend it. I'm not sure if it's my PlayStation, but in an area in the game I was having stuttering. I keep having stuttering, and it's just one area, so I'm not sure if my PlayStation or The game is just not that well
It's
optimized.
it's something with the game because that was actually a big deal that people were saying is the stuttering is gone now when you play it on PS5 Pro when they did the PS5 Pro update. So
Okay,
yeah,
so it
it's
is an
definitely
optimization.
yeah, it's the game.
Not gonna lie, it's crazy that this optimization is like this, and then I played Death Stranding and I zero stuttering. Like that's
I mean,
crazy.
completely
But
different engine. So yeah,
I get it, but still, yeah. With that being said, do I recommend the Vanisher? I absolutely do. It's entertaining. It's emotional driven, and uh, the mystery. It's all about the mystery. Yeah, that's about it for me.
cool. Yeah. As for me, obviously, still playing Death Stranding 2 heavily. Um, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm really going for the plat, so I'm in kind of the grind of it right now. Um, I have gotten to play a few other things here and there. So Killing Floor 3 did come out. I'm a really long time player of the Killing Floor series, so um, I played Killing Floor 1 and 2 for probably a decade or more at this point. Um, so seeing the launch of Killing Floor 3 and all the improvements they made have been really good. Um, are you looking for the package? I got it already. Sorry. They were looking for the Amazon package and I got it already while Lamar was talking. But but yeah, like I said, I was able to play that. They've did a much better job improving from the beta that they had, so the game feels a lot better. They still have not done the main thing, which was my biggest criticism, but it is on the docket. They released a roadmap for updates that they're going to implement into the game. One of them is the decoupling of your perk system and the character that you are. So you can choose, and be whichever character you want with any perk that you want, whether it's the engineer, the firebug, the medic, so on and so forth, which is the way the game has always been. So I don't know why they originally thought it was a good idea or that people would like being limited to a specific character to be that specific perk, because that was one of the really great things about it as opposed to the way a lot of other games are. So again, I don't know what's with the homogenous nature of game design where eventually like changing things for just for the sake of it. Developers seem to do that a lot, especially when something is more the norm in their game is the outlier. So obviously the norm with a lot of I guess hero shooters or whatever, specific abilities are tied to those characters. But again, Killing Floor is nothing like that, so there was really no need to do that. If anything, it was a detriment because it limits who you can choose in order to play a specific class that you want to play. So thankfully, they're going to get rid of that, adding some of the fan favorite weapons and things of that nature that are coming as well. So again, yeah, that is looking good. It's a good start. It's definitely got its work cut out for it. They kind of mirrored like a weird live service approach that seems to remind me of um, the the way that I guess Helldivers 2 is structured, with that whole like free system where you can earn points to get some of the cosmetics and stuff, and then there's also stuff that you could just outright buy. That's going to be an interesting thing to see how they go about that. Um, Mainly because the way Killing Floor is structured, like there's no real reason to really buy anything. It's usually all cosmetics. So I'm interested to see how they'll go about that, and hopefully they don't get too caught up in trying to push the live service element of this game in such a crazy way. Um, and then I also started Saga Emerald Beyond. Um, I saw some gameplay from it and it looked really good. looked like something I would enjoy. So I did start that, and it's been pretty interesting so far. Has a really, 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 really unique turn-based battle system. Um, so something that is definitely tough to say in this day and age for something to have such a unique twist or turn on, a tried and true typical turn-based combat system. So the world seems to be really unique. There's a couple different characters you can pick from that have completely different starts. So I'm really interested to see where it goes. One of the people I follow on Twitter that's a big JRPG person as well. He was playing it and said it was one of his favorite combat systems. So I'm excited to get further in that and play that a lot more. But yeah, like I said, those are pretty much what I've been
Yeah,
playing.
but you can. There's a demo for it from PlayStation
Yeah,
for people to try out.
yeah, there was a demo. Yep, yeah, I saw that you had tried it. But yeah, if you're curious, yeah, you could definitely try the demo. I just bought it outright because it was already on sale, and
I saw
so
the Muslim with the hijabis. I'm like, okay, I need to check this out. I downloaded the demo, but I've yet to try it out
yeah,
because it's such a rare thing
the
to have.
Muslim with the hijab thing threw me off, because like you said, that is extremely rare. So especially in a JRPG, so I was like,
Especially RPG, eh?
yeah, I was like, who brought this character in, and like, what is her story, and like, why? And then she's with like someone who's the complete opposite of her. She's the one of the characters where it's a twin character, so it comes with another character, and the person she's with is like a very flamboyant, Texas style shooter. Uh,
Damn, they don't mix.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's pretty interesting. So one of them is like really freeing, and the other one seems really reserved. So I'm interested to see how the dynamic will work out in the story as well. So yeah, like I said, a lot of fun so
I'm
far.
curious. You made me super curious about it now.
Yeah, something for you to look into. But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So obviously, main topic, the one I'm just gonna start it with the one everybody is losing their minds over on Twitter. People just lying left, right, and center over this freaking PlayStation job listing. This is just annoying at this point. Like I had a whole argument in like a group chat where somebody thought that the listing was PlayStation was hiring a bunch of studios, a bunch of teams to port all their entire catalog to Xbox or something. Like this is what I'm talking about with misinformation that drives me crazy. Like this single listing and all the nonsense that has been derived from this is literally just off the wall at this point. Like people are like, "Oh man, we're going to get Gravity Rush on the Nintendo and blah blah." And I'm like, "Who is porting all this stuff? Like what are you guys talking about? This is a single individual being hired for this team currently. Like that is it. Like they will head a team that is most likely already in place, and in order to alleviate the multi-platform push that is already in play, not a new one, the ones that are currently in play, to alleviate Herman and Hiroki from having to deal with it directly. Or not even Hiroki, the other guy's name. Everybody keeps saying Hiroki. Hiroki's like, he's back being the CEO, whatever the heck he was. I forgot the other guy's name, but Herman and the other CEO. I can't ever remember his name. But yeah, like I said, because right now, all this, the multiplayer push and all the things that the job listing lists are all on those two right now. And that is not their job. So when trying to explain this to people, I was like, have you guys never seen or been at a job where you are doing something or ramping something up and other people are doing it and it's whose job it is not to do that? And then it eventually gets to a point where you're like, look, you got to get somebody for this position because me or this person or whatever is taking this on and it's taking away from what I need to be doing. So we need someone who is 100% focused on this, which is understandable because implementing multiple systems um, coordinating partnerships and connectivity between the different platforms and all this other stuff is a big deal. Like, again, it takes a lot to do all that. So again, I feel like people are definitely misinterpreting this. Obviously, some people are doing it on purpose. Like I said, the sensationalism from some people's quotes, quoting, Charlie Intel and stuff, talking about this. Oh, it's all over, man. If you boys like exclusives, you better get over it. Like what? Like what? Like none of this has been said in any of this, and people are just literally just jumping out the window. Oh, it's all over. PlayStation. PlayStation dead. 2025. Long live the legacy. Like all kinds of craziness. Like it's out of control. But like I said, when you read what is actually there, for those of us who can actually read and have decent reading comprehension, unlike a lot of people apparently, which Twitter has proven time and time again, what is actually stated in the actual job listing for the overview is the person will be reporting to the vice president commercial management as senior director of multi-platform and account management, and you will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software titles across digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware. Mind you, they already do this, right? But again, they're creating a job for it because, like I said, it takes a lot to do this. Beyond PlayStation hardware. And again, that statement is key because Herman's job right now is to take care of the studios. So his job is not to court, like they need to remove this so that he is also not having to be responsible for coordinating for their live service push and all these other titles and things that they need to do with external partners or, PC partners, where they're stating beyond the PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. Again, Marathon is already slated for Xbox. Fair Games is most likely already slated for Xbox. This is not new. They've already talked about their live service push and those games being available everywhere. Again, nothing has changed as of this moment. That's all I'm telling people. You can speculate till the sky comes, falling down. But the point is, nothing has changed, and nothing has changed based on this listing. Like, this is the thing that a lot of people, like I said, are just going crazy over. And then it goes on further to state that the role is accountable for optimizing title profitability, ensuring cross-functional alignment, and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion, mid-range commercial planning, and planning partner management. Again, one of the things that's taken there, the mid-range management, stating specifically for titles, they talk about mid to long range for title management, which is referring to after PlayStation release. So mid to long range meaning a year to 2 years plus or whatever for managing some of these titles afterwards that are not live service, and where and when and if they should go, which again aligns with what currently Hermen Hulst stated, selecting what should go where, when, working with their experimental projects. They're also working with, again, people have to realize the China Hero project is a whole nother initiative. They have multiple other initiatives besides the China Hero project. They announced the Middle East Hero project. They're working with new partners in Africa. They're working with new partners in South Korea, and so on and so forth. So again, a lot of this stuff that they've taken on have just been kind of falling on Herman and, the other CEOs' laps to kind of deal with as the workload has increased. And you can't just keep doing that, while dealing with your internal studios and trying to prioritize what's going on there. So again, that's what I'm surmising from the role. That's what I've seen from the role. Like I said, I'm not telling somebody to that something else might not happen. I don't know what's going to happen, just the way no one else knows what's going to happen. But again, everybody wants to like run out and be like, it's all over. PlayStation exclusives don't exist anymore. It's a wrap. Put a bow on it. PlayStation. I'll be playing Gran Turismo on Xbox. By this fall and like crazy stuff. Like I don't know, man. People are out of control, and PlayStation fans are also just as stupid for letting people rile them up with all this nonsense based on this basic description of a job. And I'm just like, yo, calm down, play your games, relax. And like I said, I'll be the first person to tell you that PlayStation, I got my eye on PlayStation. I always do, and I have said this multiple times. Like, I expect PlayStation to focus on delivering the single player great games for PlayStation first and foremost before anything else. And that always better be their priority. Like I've always stated that. Day and date always said would murder PlayStation in 6 to 10 years and they would cease to exist, right? As someone who plays on PC already and has for so many years. So no, I don't think this is going to be happening overnight. I don't think this means some big super massive change. Now, if that becomes the case, and we're looking at Uncharted Lost Legacy on Xbox by next Tuesday, sure, we'll have that conversation. We'll visit that conversation. But right now, people are just acting like that's what it means, and nothing has actually changed. So that's the thing. I don't understand where people are generating all these ideas and all this hopium and weird stuff that's going on in the community and people freaking out because, again, like I said, nothing has happened. Morgan, I want to go to you first. You've heard it. I read out, what it entails so far for the job listing. But how are you feeling about this after seeing all the Twitter nonsense and the job listing?
I mean, the main problem with this community, and by this community, I mean the gaming community, is that everyone wants to get their sound bites off because they want to be the first to say something, whether it's the first to, take a W on an I told you so, or they just don't want to take an L. So they're quick to, when something happens or something looks different or like something that looks like a change in the wind is happening, people want to be quick about getting an opinion out there, regardless of whether it's right or not, right? And like I said, a lot of it is due to fear. They don't want to be seen as wrong, and they don't want to be seen as like, oh, I got caught up, like I thought it was one way and it it was another way. So people don't really use discernment or judgment or think. And I've been seeing that a lot on Twitter after this job posting. Um, and again, like a Nate, I'm not saying that that doesn't mean things will change or something won't happen because you never say never, right? We never know where things will turn out. But to make definitive statements and say something is happening or something isn't happening is you would think that as a community would have learned to stop doing that, but I swear every time something happens, everybody just starts going like chicken little the sky is falling type mentality, and it's honestly really funny. Um, but yeah, this whole thing, I just find it funny because it's like PlayStation has been publishing on Xbox for like years now, or as far as like developing for Xbox, like they started with MLB The Show, which their own studio has been developing for Xbox since what 2021. Um, and then of course now we have Helldivers, and then they bought a publisher that is going to be multiplat, as in Bungie, right? So Destiny 1, Destiny 2, Marathon, and then if they ever do another game, probably a Destiny 3 or whatever new IP, that's all going to be on Xbox, right? PlayStation has a foothold in Xbox already, so them hiring someone to tackle not only Xbox but the Steam and Epic Store, which they also make games for, is not that surprising to me. It seemed to, like I said, really rile up people and have people running around like their heads are on fire. But at the end of the day, they're going to need somebody who is in charge of that type of thing, right? They can't just like Nate said, let Herman or whoever else or whoever has a different job dictate that. You need somebody to have that job specifically and tackle that, because that's a big job to handle, right? Your third party output. But yeah, from what I see and from what makes sense for PlayStation, and I'm not talking about what makes sense to me as a PlayStation player because I prefer PlayStation, right? I'm talking about from PlayStation's business point, for what makes sense for their strategy. I don't see single player games going over there. Those are their tentpole franchises, and what makes sense is live service, right? Because with live service, you need as many people in the pool as ever. And after their big loss with Concord and that flop, right? I think they're learning that, okay, we need as many people to get into our pool of live service as we could possibly get. And I think, with Helldivers going to Xbox, that'll be like a test to see how well live service does on Xbox. Especially seeing as it's probably the most Xboxy, if I can use that as a
No, I know
as an
I know
adjective.
exactly what you mean.
It's the most Xboxy game out of the games that PlayStation has, right? Xbox is known as the shooter box, the do bro box. At least it used to be. But those are the type of gamers that are on Xbox. So, and Helldivers is kind of has that the almost Halo CE DNA in it. So, if a game was to succeed on Xbox, I think that Helldivers 2 would have the best chance. So I think this will be a good test subject for PlayStation to see how well live service games will do on Xbox. Um, but people keep thinking and keep saying things like, PlayStation saw how well Forza did on their platform, so they want to take the same resolve and put their games because they want the same success. But I don't think people are factoring in one, Forza is a live service game, so it's not going to do the same as a single player game would. So they're trying to say Forza will be the same as like a God of War, two different type of games, right? It's a racer, right? And it's one of the best known arcade racers, so obviously it's going to do very well. Two, Xbox's that game is going to a platform with more players, right? It has a higher PlayStation has the, as far as PS5 goes, has one of the highest or a PlayStation in general has one of the highest player counts out there for consoles, right? It's got 80 million on PS5 and I think still around 40 to 50 million on PS4. That's a big user base of players to, pool of revenue to pull from. So it's a little different from taking your IP and putting it into putting it towards players that with this huge amount of potential revenue versus taking your game that's already on the biggest platform and then porting it down to another platform that has even less of a player base, right? Like less than like half. And people expect, because Forza sold, I guess, 3 million on PlayStation, that if PlayStation put one of their games, it would do the same. But again, Xbox has way less of a player pool than PlayStation, and they have a lot less buying power than PlayStation players do as well.
Exactly.
And especially when you factor in the fact that a lot of Xbox players are trained to wait on Game Pass, and regardless of what they say, that's not true. It is absolutely true. Every time a game releases on Xbox, one of the main things you see under like the Twitter post or YouTube is it coming to Game Pass? Is it coming to Game Pass? Like that was they even asked that with Helldivers after the tweet. Is it coming to Game Pass? Is that like it's like here's a game published by PlayStation that's coming, and instead of just supporting it so more PlayStation games could potentially come, it's like no, I'll just wait for it to come to Game Pass. That's kind of the mentality of a lot of Xbox players. And I see a lot of Xbox players saying that PlayStation is going to put their games on Game Pass. I don't see that happening. Unless Xbox decides to like write an astronomical check to PlayStation that would like, one, cover the cost of the port, but two, make a insane amount of profit for them. Which I don't see Xbox doing. I don't see that happening. PlayStation, like a lot of devs that have spoke up, are very wary about putting their games on a subscription service. Even PlayStation doesn't want to put their own games on their own subscription service, right? They want their money up front. They want the cost of the game up front. And I don't see them putting these games on Game Pass. I mean, they didn't even bother putting Helldivers on Game Pass. And then as soon as MLB was on Game Pass for 2-3 years, and I think they realized they were losing money on that, and they immediately stopped putting it on Game Pass. So it's on Xbox. MLB is still on Xbox, but it's no longer in Game Pass. So those again are learning things from PlayStation. I don't really, so this whole single player games, the Spider-Mans, the Uncharted's, the God of Wars, I don't see PlayStation putting those on Xbox. Again, I could be absolutely wrong, but we're all just playing the guessing game at this point. But it's people immediately assuming that every single player game that PlayStation makes is coming to Xbox. I think that's kind of funny. That would change the trajectory of Xbox or PlayStation's whole strategy, which wouldn't make sense for PlayStation. And again, I'm not speaking as a PlayStation fan, like, oh, I don't want my PlayStation games on an Xbox. No, I'm talking about purely from a business standpoint. It would literally make zero sense for PlayStation to do that. PlayStation, in order to thrive, they need people buying their hardware. For Xbox to thrive, that's not what they care about. They care about the software. They care about people subscribing to Game Pass, and everything is an Xbox, right? That is their strategy, right? You don't have to come to our platform in order to be a part of our ecosystem, and for us to generate revenue off of you. It doesn't require you to buy our box. PlayStation is the direct opposite. They require people to buy their box, right? In order to generate money for PlayStation needs people to get into their ecosystem, and the only way you can access PlayStation's ecosystem is through the PlayStation box, right? PS4, PS5, right? So setting their single player games onto their direct competitor, which is Xbox's box, would set a precedent that I don't think they would they wouldn't want the ripple effect of that to hit the market, like what they did with Xbox, right? When Xbox did the "it's just for games" thing, that set a path and a ripple effect that they're still feeling right now, right? It set the precedent that I don't need to get an Xbox. I can just wait for these games to come to PlayStation or even Switch eventually, right? When they start porting games to Switch, I can just wait it out, right? Fable, it's not announced for PlayStation, right, as of this point, but people are going to be like, it'll probably come to PlayStation, I can just wait. Gears War E-Day, not announced for PlayStation. People will be like, I can just wait, that'll probably come PlayStation eventually. And that's the mentality that Xbox has kind of set up for themselves, because they are now they have now ported so many games of their tentpole titles specifically, right? That is the precedent that has been set. And I think PlayStation knows that if they put, their tentpoles, their Uncharted's, their God of Wars, their Spider-Mans onto Xbox, that will also set the same precedent for them. That'll set the precedent of, oh, okay, so I don't really need to buy Ghost of Yotei, right? That'll eventually come to my preferred platform of Xbox if I just wait, right? Regardless of whether it's true or not, that is what the mindset of a lot of gamers will be, right? If they hit this first domino, that is the effect that will happen. That'll ripple across the gaming industry for them. And PlayStation, as they've stated in many of their meetings, right, that we recently had with like Herman and the rest of them, that they're being very careful about the way that they move, especially when it comes to their tentpole titles, right? They were asked and specifically in that meeting that they had like a couple months ago, they were asked if they plan on taking the strategy that Xbox is doing. And they said, the strategy we're currently working on is working for us. We really don't see a need for immediate change. And obviously, we as gamers, we have learned not to listen to the people in charge, right? Because they'll say one thing and then do another. But you have to follow what makes sense for the company in order to know what's going to be likely true or not. And the way PlayStation is set up, it just really doesn't make sense for them to immediately copy what Xbox is doing, right? Putting their games on every single platform, putting, the tentpole titles that PlayStation is known for on every single platform. It doesn't really make financial and viable sense to do that because, again, Xbox is selling to a bigger consumer base when they put their games on PlayStation. PlayStation would be selling to a lower consumer base at the point of, in a consumer base that's not only smaller, but one that's trained to not outright buy games, right? To wait for it to come to their subscription service. So I think
Exactly.
PlayStation's being very careful about what games they pick and choose. And it's going to be kind of like a wait and see strategy for them. It's going to be let's study it, let's see what happens, let's see how Xbox players react to this game, let's see how they support it. Helldivers is very popular, so I can see it being supported very well. It'll really depend. It's also, we know it's not coming to Game Pass, so it's going to depend on essentially how much momentum Helldivers has on Xbox and how much marketing they put on the fact that it's coming to Xbox. So yeah, that'll be a good indicator for PlayStation to see how well the live service games are doing. But PlayStation honestly doesn't do very well when it comes to their live service. And then what I mean by that is what they learn from their live service. Because if Helldivers 2 does good, right, I think it will do pretty good on Xbox. Knowing PlayStation, they'll take that as a sign that, okay, that means all of our live service will do good. But they're not really good at discerning, okay, what makes this game do better than another game, right? They just kind of blanket things like, oh, let's group it all together. They're all going to do pretty good. That means Marathon's going to do good. That means the game from Haven Studios will do well if that's coming over to Xbox, yeah, it seems like live service is such a blind spot for them. They really don't really know what they're doing when it comes to that, which is another fault that PlayStation has. But yeah, I'm rambling now. But it just doesn't make sense for me personally to when you look at PlayStation's strategy that anything but live service would be going over to Xbox. I mean, we can just look at games like the games that they published with Bandai Namco, right? The IPs that they gave to Bandai Namco, the Hots Golf or whatever it's called, Everybody Golfs, or the other IP, I keep forgetting the name of the other one. But even with that, that was published on literally every platform but Xbox, and that's just like a small indie title, right? That's a golfing game, right?
Yeah.
It was published for PlayStation, Switch, PC, but not Xbox. Why? Like, because it's such a small game and it's such a smaller IP that probably doesn't make financial sense for PlayStation to put out or Bandai for them to bother publishing that for Xbox, right? And it's not going to Game Pass, so there's really no point. So PlayStation's being very careful about the select games. Even their experimental Horizon Lego went to Switch, PlayStation, and PC, but skipped Xbox, right? But nothing's definite. Nothing is, forever. So things could change if the market changes for PlayStation or if they figure out a way to gravitate their ecosystem beyond their console. Maybe things could possibly change. But right now, with their closed ecosystem, it really doesn't make financial sense for PlayStation to put their tentpole franchises on anywhere but PlayStation and PC. But like we said, things will happen. And, all we can do is just watch and see. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't make any firm decisions that PlayStation and Xbox players are doing right now on Twitter, where they're picking one side or the other. It's honestly, you just need to wait and watch and see what these companies are doing and make your decision about whether you'll continue to support PlayStation or move on. Regardless of what you do, I don't care personally what people decide to do. Like, I respect it. Like, you have to make the decision that's best for you. And honestly, like I said, it'll be upon what PlayStation does for me. When I decide for PS6 or beyond, it'll be based on what PlayStation does, right? If they no longer see a value in just supporting the console itself, and they decide to port day and date to PC, I'll probably move to PC. And that's not a oh, PlayStation hurt my feelings, so now I have to, move to PC and cry it out. No, it's just because at that point, PC will just have like all the games. They'll have PlayStation games day one, they'll have Xbox games day one, and they'll have, the PC games. So it would make more financial sense and as a gamer for me to just move to PC at that point, right? So I could
Exactly.
just play everything on one platform.
Yeah, take
So
that
it'll just
six or
depend.
$700 you were gonna invest
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
PSX
like
and just
again,
say,
because
all right.
people have a tendency to think that, oh, if you leave, it's because you felt betrayed. But that's because a lot of people on Twitter act like that. They get
Yeah,
really
that's true.
hurt by the decisions publishers do, and they're like, well, fuck you, PlayStation, or fuck you, Xbox. I'm leaving forever. This is what you did to me. This you hurt my feelings. And I'm like, no. It just makes more financial sense for me to just move to a platform that'll have everything on it, right? And it'll be an all-in-one platform with every publisher under the sun. So it'll just make sense for me to just move to PC. But like I said, it'll be upon what PlayStation decides what they're doing. But I prefer PlayStation. That's my preferred way to play. And so maybe I'll get a PC and a PlayStation still just to still do a PlayStation. But if they, definitely if they have the trophy system and everything on PC, it'll probably just be PC. But yeah. Uh, Definitely just keep your eye out on it. Like Nate says, keep your eye on it. Continue playing your games. Don't stress about this. Like it's not anything to pull your hair out over. Just keep your eye on it. See what PlayStation does, and make your decision. When the time comes.
Agreed. And yeah, just for reference, like me and Priscilla have been constantly trying to build a PC for Morgan, and she keeps putting it off. So trust me, if the day Morgan decides to go PC, that'll be the day y'all can panic.
The day the day you go PC, they go day and days it's over. Morgan gonna be day one PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple choice of expressing her consumer rights and where she wants to
Yeah,
make
it's
those
like it's no hurt
decisions.
feelings or anything.
Yeah,
It's just okay. So now this one platform just has all the games. So okay, I'll just choose that one. Like it is what it is.
exactly. But yeah. Eric did give us those games. The other games, it was Freedom Wars and Patapon. When you were like
Oh
looking
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
Patapon. Thank you. That's the one I was thinking about. I couldn't think of the name
yeah
of it. Appreciate it.
yeah because I couldn't remember that either. But yeah, again, Hot Shots is another example, right, of what I was referring to when I was saying some of the titles they have that they feel will work well by expanding, like to Switch 2 or whatever. And I think Hot Shots Golf is a good one. Like, so
Hmm.
I get why they're doing that, right? Again, that is part of that strategy they talked about with experimenting with some of their titles that they believe have longer reach than just PlayStation, and that's why they're doing that.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to point out, yeah, because like I said, the reason Helldivers I think is going over there, one is because I think they want to keep a good relationship with the Helldivers team, right?
Yeah,
I
I
know the
yeah,
Helldivers team has been very vocal about wanting to put their game everywhere,
they have.
and I think PlayStation just wants to, make sure to cement that relationship with them, especially since they're moving on to another game that's going to be everywhere, and they'll probably want them to come back eventually and make Helldivers 3, you know, and so they just or they just want the money. Like it could be either or.
Well, no, I
But
agree. I
also,
agree with you. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, but no, you're good. I kind of lost my train of thought. But also, I think damn, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, if Xbox follows through with what people suppose that they're doing, right, with the Steam integration, I really don't see a point for which PlayStation would bother porting games over to Xbox anyway, because if you're gonna have a Steam and a console in Xbox all wrapped in one, there would be no point in porting games over to Xbox because they would have access to those PlayStation games anyway through Steam. So it's like, if I was PlayStation, and who knows if PlayStation knows what Xbox is actually doing? I'm sure they do. They keep an eye on each other, and they have people everywhere. So they I'm sure they have an idea of what Xbox is doing. But if I was PlayStation, it would be like a wait and see game for me anyway, because I'm just like, if there are rumors and highly suggestible rumors that the Steam is coming to Xbox, there's really no, like I said, there's no point in me making an Xbox version for what. Like they'll have access to the games when the new console comes out. So there will just be a waste of money to bother making an Xbox version of a game if they could just play the Steam version of the game, right?
Exactly.
So that's like another reason I don't really see why PlayStation would bother developing an Xbox version of their games. It's just not really needed, and they'd get more money out of it that way, and that way they could make sure that Xbox doesn't get a cut as well, right? It would just be money. The split would be between PlayStation and Steam, right? PlayStation getting the 70 to 80%, and then Steam getting the 20 to 30%, and then Xbox would not get anything. Because all you would be doing is, if you make an Xbox port, would be guaranteeing that Xbox would get a portion of the money for your port. So I would just be playing it safe and just not doing anything, just waiting. Personally,
I mean, if I was
yeah.
PlayStation, I definitely wouldn't be making any particular moves for that. Um, like I said, the Arrowhead thing makes sense. Largely because another thing that I mentioned about Helldivers 2 is that the majority of the people who have played it, have enjoyed it, and have kind of moved on. So I know they're seeing a significant drop in player base. It was reported at one point. They've put out a few updates.
Yeah, they're still pretty strong on PC right now, but yeah, as far as console goes, I think the console players have kind of faded.
Yeah, and I mean, like they have a healthy user base, but it's not a fanfare the way it was when it launched for like the first 3 months, where every
Yeah,
time
I
you
think it'll
got
get a
on,
nice resurgence when it launches on Xbox.
yeah, like every time when it first the first 3 months, every time you got on, there was a new meme. There was people shooting action movies on this thing, going crazy, versus the bots. Like it had a whole movement behind it, and it's like, again, the test I always tell people comes for live service when you see how will you support it when the hype dies down. Like how will you reinvigorate the game? And I think a lot of companies definitely underestimate that. So I think, like I said, a big reason why Arrowhead was pushing for it to come to Xbox is because, like you said, they're looking for that resurgence of players, hoping that they will draw back in some of the people who already have access to it and have played it to play with their friends and so on and so forth, and hopefully they're
I
aligning
hope they got
that
them
with
servers
another
ready.
update. Well, yeah, we went through that. Another thing they underestimated.
That's another good point. Hopefully, yeah, with this new surgence of players, that they'll have like a really good update. You would think so. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
let's
mean,
hope that they do.
this is the time to do it if you're gonna do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, unless you're ready to move on to that next project. Um, but yeah, Weeb, how are you? You feeling about this? Are you panicking in the streets? Are you losing your mind over this job listing?
Oh yeah, totally. Can you hear it from my voice?
You sound distraught. Let me.
Yeah, yeah. Very. I haven't slept for 2 days. Like, yeah, no, crazy, crazy.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Nah. Um, I mean, yeah, you guys said a lot of things that I thought as well. I mean, this job listing doesn't mean anything, and the very fact is like they literally have to mention Xbox because they have games on Xbox. Helldivers
Exactly.
is there. That's a service game. Bungie is still publishing games on Xbox, and probably if Marathon ever comes out, it will go to Xbox probably day and date. Um, and MLB. So basically, this tells you nothing. And sure, if in the future PlayStation goes mental and decides to do put their single player games on Xbox, or God forbid go day and date, you don't get to tell me I told you so, because there is nothing in that job posting and the information you got that gives you the license to reach that conclusion. In fact,
Exactly.
everything they've said before and not that long ago will will tell you no, this is not a logical conclusion to take, unless that you're suddenly. I know that we're used to Xbox marketing where it's like, oh yeah, yeah, no, it's 4 games and then it's everything, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That doesn't mean that everybody else doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, it's we talked about it off air, but it's very much seems like Microsoft is deliberately incompetent, or at least the Xbox division, because they're hiring people who are more incompetent than their direct superior, so it doesn't look bad, right? And that's sort of probably it happens, and that's probably what's happening here, because that's the only explanation why Xbox is fucking up so badly. When they have all the cards. I mean, they have two of the biggest publishers in the industry. They supposedly have infinite money, um, and they still can get their shit together. Uh, and just because Microsoft is forced to go with putting their games on PlayStation, doesn't mean PlayStation has to do the same thing. That's kind of the problem. People are always running, like they hear something and they're always running with the worst case scenario instead of, okay, you know, in the end, this they could literally do nothing, literally not publish any other game on Xbox, and the job posting would still be correct because they have games on the Xbox.
Exactly.
Will they not publish any other games on the Xbox? Now, will publish in MLB as long as that exists will be an Xbox because they don't have a choice in that matter. Like I said, Bungie games will likely, for the foreseeable future, come to Xbox. Yeah, I mean, and Helldivers, and possibly indeed other service games. Like, I do think that Concord has scared them to the point that they said that they're like considering, okay, maybe keeping we need to maybe as large as possible player base, even if it's just
Mm-hmm.
a little, you know, to make sure this game survives, right? Um, and I really think that Helldive is definitely a test case because it's gonna be it might if this fails, it might be also the last one is going there because they're like, okay, we put it on there. You said you wanted it. You're not buying it because you've been trained to wait for it to come to Game Pass. And I don't think Sony's really willing to play ball there and put their games on Game Pass because that's kind of even if that would be the only way for them to make additional money on that game, it's gonna go against their strategy because the only thing they're gonna do is making Game Pass more attractive, um, and and that would go against their entire narrative and their entire strategy that they don't want to put all their games day and date on the subscription service because that's not a viable solution. And it's not even a viable solution for Microsoft because they're losing money on this, right? Anyway, they cut they can play book holding, bookkeeping tricks as much as they want, but in the end, the money has to come from somewhere, and there's no way you're gonna tell me that if you have a AAA development budget, you're gonna make your money back on a subscription service. You're never gonna make that money back. How in the hell are you gonna make that money back? With the amount of investments you're doing and all the upkeep you have. Something's got to give eventually, and we're seeing a something going to give with all the layoffs, with the cancelled games, and probably a lot of games are going to be shipped in a way that they're either Game Pass material or we're seeing the strategy where I say, oh no, we're going to just publish our games on PlayStation because they do sell there. um, and that, like you guys said, that's not an indication that PlayStation games will be massively more successful on on Xbox because it's a much smaller game player base trained to not buy games, um, and they don't really have that need. Like their single player games do incredibly well, and it's gonna be like if they're gonna if their games are gonna sell like a couple of thousand units, it's not gonna be worth even porting it to Xbox because it's not they're not even gonna make their money back of the cost it took for them to port the game. So yeah, I'm not worried that that's going to be doesn't mean that their entire portfolio is going to Xbox. That's wishful thinking. There's nothing in what they've said that's going to gives you a license to think that. And the interesting thing is maybe even because like Morgan said, like the next Xbox is going to be PC. Like if it could very well be that Microsoft already told them, yeah, look, what we're gonna do, we're gonna partner with I don't know Asus or Alienware or whatever, and we're just gonna read a PC with an Xbox sticker on it, call it an Xbox. And we want you guys to call it an Xbox because that's our branding, that's our marketing strategy. Like, okay, fine. So we're gonna call it an Xbox, because you guys want to call a PC an Xbox. It's just a PC with Windows where you can install your Steam client. Yeah, we're publishing to Steam. We don't have any issue that you can play it on your Xbox branded PC, whatever. So if you want to call an Xbox, we're going to indulge you. Just like you sometimes have to indulge a little kid when they are stubborn and don't want to listen. And so they would technically be correct that they were developing for Xbox, even though it's just a PC. So in the end, like we know what Microsoft's strategy is, so I'm not worried. And like this guy said, like it's a matter indeed of if PlayStation ever has gets led by really stupid people who don't know what they're doing, which are clearly are not. They can make mistakes, but clearly they're competent in what they're doing. If that point if we ever reach that point, and they're gonna go day and date, and yeah, sure, then everybody's gonna be on PC, and I guess that's what they want, and fine, that's the way it is. But right now, I don't see any reason to be worried. I don't see any reason to sell my PlayStation. I'm good. Like I'm playing my games. I'm enjoying them. I'm getting everything I want out of it. And if you wanna lay awake at night and worried about if PlayStation is cheating on you, you know, go ahead. But yeah, take it from me. I don't think you have anything to worry about. It's again, it's with everything, like every single detail that they can find on PlayStation. Like they're always going through with a fine tooth comb through all this job posting. Like, oh, what could it mean? Like, oh, does this mean they're gonna do 180 and they're gonna completely flip the script? And they're always doing this, and it's like I think like we said, like this is a lot of clickbait for these so-called gaming journalists, um, and these engagement farmers, and who we're talking about, and you know do what you do. If that scratches your itch, if that's what gets you going, go ahead. But you're not gonna get me, and I don't think anybody should be worried about this. This is, as Owen would say, a big nothing burger. Um, you can file that under in the same cabinet with the overheating PlayStations and all other bullshit. Um, you know, I'm yeah, this what it is. I think I wasted enough time on this bullshit.
Nah, I 100% agree with you, man. All right, Mister Mister. Oh no, it's over, Mister Omar himself. uh, what do you think about this, sir? Are you freaking out? Is it all over? Is PlayStation done? What's going on? How are you feeling?
PlayStation down, rev it up. 2025 is over. Okay, real talk now. There is a reason I didn't even put it on topic. It's so far we have nothing. Could it happen? Let's go to the word possibility. Yes, it could. But then we're gonna talk about it when it's happened. As of right now, we got nothing. There is a difference between this and only for games on Xbox front. Uh, like, there is no leaks of Spider-Man hitting to Xbox. There is no leaks of any other game hitting to Xbox. Do I think that's stuff that this new information is coming right after the whole Helldivers 2 situation? I mean, Helldivers 2 is a fiasco as its own. And yeah, uh, because of Helldivers 2, now people are gonna expect everything to hit PlayStation. I meant Xbox. We're gonna see. I'm just gonna wait and see
Oh
where
man, not Omar
they're
being
gonna go with.
reasonable. Oh God.
Oh man, all them beatings we've been giving him in the
No,
chat
it's
finally
not.
worked in. Oh man.
No. It's not unreasonable. It's like there is literally zero evidence that is happening. Like, I don't know who
Proud of
said
you,
it,
Omar.
but both of you said it. Microsoft, PlayStation already have games on Xbox, MLB, among others, Destiny, among others, the new IP from Bungie. So it's not like for the very first time they're preparing to what you call it, uh, release a game on Xbox, and so they need to hire someone. Like, nah, PlayStation been porting things to Xbox. Well, not porting, but releasing. So when we hear next week Spider-Man hitting Xbox, Uncharted hitting Xbox, then we can have this gloom and doom conversation. Then we can have this conversation from what the fuck is PlayStation is doing. As of right now, it's literally a nothing burger. Like, there is genuinely a reason why I didn't even put it in topic.
No,
Because
yeah,
I
I mean,
didn't think there was enough not only credibility, but like any actual evidence to it for it to be merit a conversation. And you guys said so many things, and I'm like, it's simple. It's a nothing burger. So far, wait and see.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah,
So
some of
proud of
this,
Omar. He growing up so fast.
right, right. Um, but yeah, man, some of the stuff I've seen, like people like, oh man, I'd really like to see, some of like the craziest stuff ported, and I'm like, but why would they do that though? Like they can't
Oh,
actually give me an answer.
I can't give you an answer because they love PlayStation games. They just hate PlayStation.
Well, but somebody was like, oh man, I'd really kill for Gravity Rush on my Switch too, and I was like,
I mean, yeah, I understand why Gravity Rush is a phenomenal game.
yeah, but I was like, but why would they port that game? Like, like that's such a random thing to port. Like that.
Especially with the IP being dead. They
Yeah, like
can't
that.
make
It's
Gravity
over.
Rush 3 or whatsoever, so
Yeah,
yeah, no,
it was. That's why I was
it's
like,
laughable. It's
it's just
laughable. It's
it's
absolutely
leaving
laughable.
a lot of people like out here to just speculate all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah,
But
like I
that's
said,
the thing.
from
You
entire
don't
teams being
even need a
hired.
PlayStation 5. You can have a PlayStation 4 and play Gravity Rush 1 and 2.
I mean, that person could play it right now, but that's what I'm saying. Like people are wanting them to port things they already have access to, and I was like, again, why would that make sense to them to port a bunch of old games that have already had their sales potential pushed through, or already are, a dead IP. Like
Oh,
I
but
was
they don't care about play. They don't care about what PlayStation want to do. They care about what they want out of it.
yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing. A lot of people
It's
have
funny.
a lot of people have really weird wishes like that. And then when I ask that person, all right, so who's gonna port all these games? Like again, because I don't know what it is with gamers, especially currently on Twitter. Like gamers seem to think number one that porting games is free, and like no one has to do it. It's like a button push. Like they walk in
Like,
there and hit the easy button and go, "That was easy," and the game shows up on Xbox. And I'm like,
Yeah, one of the developers literally came out. I can't remember who it was who was talking about how porting was not cheap.
"Yeah,
Like people
it's
keep thinking
not."
porting is cheap, and it's not.
Yeah, like it's cost some of these guys like a couple million sometimes just to port a game, and I'm like, okay, so if I'm not going to get a couple million from porting it, why would I port it then?
I think
when
that's
I'm
a
not
good transition to uh the Ori developer and his porting costs.
No,
I
no,
was
but
about
that's a
to
good
talk.
point.
I was about to talk about Ori. Like, I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. When I first heard about Xbox porting game to PlayStation, I'm like, give me Ori 1 and 2. But I knew it's not gonna happen, sadly. But was that a wishful thinking? Yeah. But I knew it's not gonna happen. So I understand their thinking, but I'm like, come on. It's clear as day companies are gonna port what they think is gonna do well, not what we want. That's the reality of things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everything they've done so far makes sense. Like I said, the Hot Shots golf, even trying to attempt to see if Patapon will take off. You know, because of the popularity of the Switch in places like Japan, where Patapon has more traction. So like all these things make sense so far, but then people keep coming up with moves that don't make sense, and I'm like, why would they do that? Like I don't know. It's wild though. But like you said, Morgan, that like you said, that's a perfect transition. I mean, to talk about the Ori developer talking about skipping Xbox for No Rest for the Wicked. This week they came out talking about porting costs and the fact that due to market conditions and financial trouble, they have to maximize their potential sales market for No Rest for the Wicked, which is already available on Steam, um, and has been in early access for a while on there. And, as they're looking to move over to consoles and release this title, they're looking at Switch 2 and the PlayStation for obvious reasons. You're talking about, the biggest market sales potential, putting these titles out there. They feel that based on what they're looking at, they can make that money back and then some, because ultimately you need profit, not just revenue, right? They got to make that money back and then start to make profit so they can invest in a new game or invest further into the game that they're making. And again, people thought this isn't a slight at Xbox or something, but like we stated, when your sales potential and the companies can see this and they have the data, they have this stuff available to them to see user engagement and sales and all these other things that people think don't matter. I'm like, they matter a lot to these people who have to spend the money to port these titles over. So if you're ultimately, like I told people, I was like, you know, um, people ask all the time, why is this game not coming here? Why is this game not coming wherever? And it's like, again, porting these games or over or whatever is not cheap. Um, you have to make sure that you're making a sound investment from a developer standpoint, that you're going to recuperate or get that return on investment. Again, it's business. Like again, a lot of gamers out here lately seem to keep forgetting that games have to make money in order for developers to stay employed, in order for these studios not to shut down, and in order for people to continue to make the games that we like. So yeah, yeah, like I said earlier this week, they did come out and state that they're at least initially going to be skipping Xbox. Whether or not it comes later, it's kind of up in the air. Um, but yeah, I 100% get where they're coming from. This was something that we were told wasn't really a factor when it came out a while back, that uh, I think it was Chris String that said it, where he was saying he was hearing that some developers with upcoming titles are looking at skipping Xbox, and then someone tried to come out and counter it and say no, they're not, and yet again we've had games skip it, again due to quote unquote market conditions. Now we've got another game skipping, and again, like, people are telling us no, they don't, but in reality, we're having games where we can factually see they are skipping the platform. Because the buying power is just not there. It doesn't make financial sense for them to put those games over there. And then the other thing I always hear is like, oh, just get a Game Pass deal. Like, again, like, that's just something you sign up for, like trying to get a Netflix account. Oh, you got money trouble? Get yourself a Game Pass deal. Just walk into Microsoft and sign the paper, and they'll give you
Not
50
everyone
million.
want to be in Game Pass.
Yeah, and not everyone. Number one, not everyone wants to be, but not everybody is getting the Game Pass deal either. Like, so
Yeah.
that's been another thing that has been spoken about, where the big money deals, a lot of them have been drying up. If you're not a certain type of clientele, especially some of the smaller indie teams, have spoken about this stuff. So again, people not really paying attention to all the factors that go into developing these games and bringing them to market. But yeah, I don't. Morgan, are you surprised by the Ori developer here skipping with their upcoming title, No Rest for the Wicked?
No, and he reiterated that they're not necessarily skipping. It would just be coming to PlayStation first, right?
Yeah, on initial release is what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, this is not a new thing. This isn't the first, publisher or developer to come out and say that they would be porting to one platform first. We see it a lot. I mean, most developers just don't say anything, right? We see it a lot, especially with JRPGs and smaller indie games that they just have a PS5 or a Switch and PC release, and no mention of Xbox, and maybe somebody will ask them, in the tweet, like, hey, do you have any plans to come on Xbox? And they'd be like, not at launch, but maybe later down the line, right? I mean, again, the only reason this is making kind of waves is because the developer came out right and said it, and it's a developer that was known to make an exclusive for Xbox, right, with the Ori series. But yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, from the developer's point of view, why they would be, at least at launch, skipping Xbox. One, PlayStation has the bigger player base, right? So they have a higher chance of making more money off of PlayStation, just based purely on the numbers, right? And two, as he kind of he kind of explained further later when people were asking, and the kind of in his his quote blew up. He started elaborating what he meant as well, that PlayStation is just easier to port to. As we know, that's been a big talking point with a lot of developers, right? PlayStation, as far as the SKU goes, right? And Mark Cerny was very forward thinking when he designed the PS5. He designed it to be easy to develop for, right? Very similar design scheme as from the PS4, so that transition from PS4 to PS5 would be easy, and it wouldn't be strenuous on developers. Like, in his talks when he was talking about the PS5, that was one of the main questions he asked developers, like, what do you want out of the PS5, right? And they wanted that easy development, and that's what the PS5 has. So he reiterated that another reason for that there would possibly be priority for PlayStation would be the easier development on the PS5 and PS5 Pro, versus the Xbox, which we know has two vastly different SKUs with the Series X and the Series S, right? And we know that a lot of developers have a little bit of development trouble when it comes to that Series S, and especially when they have a game that looks a certain way or runs a certain way, and they have to kind of scale down what they want out of their game to play on the Series S. It takes a little time. It's not impossible, right? And but it takes a lot more time and resources that a small developer like the Moon Studios team might not necessarily have, right, at launch. So what they want to do is release the game on a an easier platform with a bigger fan base that they can get that money from the initial launch and then use that to help them, fund a port to Xbox and other platforms. So it makes sense. I get if you're a primary Xbox player. A lot of people, Xbox fans, kind of got really upset about what he said, and I get it. If you're an Xbox fan, a lot of um, devs and studios have come out and kind of said similar things about Xbox, and I guess at a certain point it gets tiring to hear that. But honestly, that is solely on the shoulders of Xbox, and their design philosophy when it came to the Xbox Series X and then the Series S, which I still think the Series S was a mistake. Like, I get the the logic sort of behind it. Like, you wanted to get a cheaper SKU to kind of get into next gen, but I don't think they really thought about what that would mean on the developer side, right? I think they were thinking more about the consumer side when they made this console. And again, like I said, it's not impossible. We've seen, most games release on the Series X and S, but the thing about the most games is like it's these big AAA studios who can afford to optimize and have time and the money and the resources to develop for a Series S console, right? But you can't expect that. You can't expect the Moon Studio of like 50 or whatever people to have the same time, resources, and money as like a Ubisoft, right? They have to prioritize what's best for their development cycle and their game. And unfortunately for Xbox fans, if you want the game day one, you're just gonna have to like wait. Unless Xbox, they come to some kind of agreement with Xbox, and maybe Xbox will help fund the game, or maybe give them like some little extra money for a Game Pass deal, and they can use that money to make a port for Xbox. It seems like that's kind of what he was trying to like essentially go for. I think kind of the point of his, I don't know if it was a tweet, I think it was something he was saying on his Discord. I can't recall where he initially said this. I don't think it was a tweet though, but
yeah, he did. But
it seems from the way he worded it that he was essentially trying to convey that he would like for some type of Xbox deal.
yeah, I did get
And
that as well.
yeah, and maybe that was the purpose of it, because he knows that gamers are sensitive. And certain fan bases can be very sensitive when you tell them that a game will not come to their platform, even if they didn't initially care about the game anyway, right? Because that happens a lot, where a game that nobody planned on playing says that they're not coming to your preferred platform, and so a bunch of people get upset. But the people who are upset were never going to play this game anyway. They were just mad because you said it wasn't coming to their platform. But it's that type of thing that kind of, like I said, gets people talking. And then obviously we got the news cycle, and we got podcasters talking about, like us, for example. So it gets the word out there, and so that it'll get back to Xbox, and then Xbox will maybe reach out to Moon Studio and maybe make some sort of deal with them. So maybe that was the purpose of him doing that, to kind of get people riled up, get people talking about it, so Xbox will reach out and make some type of deal. I don't think that's a bad thing. Honestly, some people think that that's like, oh, they're just manipulating. I mean, like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm trying to keep the lights on in my studio, so I'm gonna do what I need to do. And I'm gonna say what I did. Like, as long as you're not like crazy insulting people or doing something crazy, like, I think it's fine. Like, if this is what he needs to do in order to get money to the studio, then do what's necessary. I mean, if this results in Xbox getting the game day one, I really don't see what the harm is from him saying this. Like,
Exactly.
The job, whatever he needed to do, succeeded. So maybe Xbox will reach out. I don't know the relationship, because I know with Moon Studio that Xbox has, because I know it kind of ended on sour terms when it came to Ori, because the Ori developers really wanted to put the game on other platforms, including PlayStation, and Xbox was just like, no. They were like, well, we'll let you put it on Switch, but we draw the line at PlayStation, essentially, is kind of what happened with Ori. And so they allow them to port Ori to Switch, but then they kind of, went their separate ways after that because of that situation. And I think also going back to the whole Helldivers thing, I think that's another reason that Helldivers was on Xbox. They're just really not trying to sour that relationship, kind of like what happened with Moon Studios. But again, I can't speak personally about Moon Studios because I don't know the relationship between Moon and Xbox. I just know that according to, insiders, it just didn't end on the best of terms. But maybe they're cool now. Time heals all wounds. Maybe they're cool now, and Phil will reach out to the Moon Studios team, and especially since they are experienced at making games for Xbox, maybe not the Series X and S, but they have that rapport with them. So maybe Phil will reach out and they'll give them some money, and it'll be on Game Pass day one, and then at that point, mission succeeded. So I really don't think this is as big of a deal as people are making it. Like I said, people are online upset about it. I think most of the people who are upset really had no plans of playing the game anyway.
Agreed.
It's just people hurt because you said that my preferred platform can't get this game day one. I mean, people were the same way with that one Souls-like game that said the same thing. I don't know if you remember, like, it was like last year this Souls-like game came out and said we're not porting to Xbox because PlayStation has a bigger fan base or something like that, right? This is something like that. And people got really upset, but nobody even bothered to play the game anyway. So it's like nobody cared. It was just hurt feelings, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really I don't take this as anything as a big of a deal. The Moon Studio team will figure it out. From what I heard, it's pretty good for Souls. Like, it has its issues, but it's it's an early access or whatever. So I'm sure they'll work it out before the release of the official game. I don't know when they said they were going to. I don't know if it's coming out this year for console. I don't really know when they're having it planned to actually fully release on console. But yeah, I mean, again, at the end of the day, this is kind of par for the course when it comes to smaller studios. And I think that's just kind of a thing you're gonna, if you're an Xbox fan, you just kind of gotta accept it. I know it kind of sounds horrible, but it is what it is. It's because at the end of the day, these developers have to do what makes sense for their game. Like, yes, you may really want to support it, you may want to buy it day one, but they have to go where they can see where they're going to make the most money, at least initially, right? It could still come to your platform later. But they do what they got to do. Like, for example, like the game I want to play, Witchbrook, isn't initially coming to PlayStation. It hurt my feelings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna like berate the developer and like curse them out and say, how dare you not come to PlayStation because that's my preferred platform. You should bring the game over, yada yada yada. You're making a huge mistake by not doing, the kind of thing that I see a lot of fanboys online do. Like, that's stupid. Like, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It is what it is at the end of the day. And if you really want to play a game, just go where that game is supported. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say.
No, I agree. There's definitely a healthy way to voice your opinion on that. The Witchbrook thing that you mentioned, they're heavily looking at PlayStation at this point because so many people were just like, hey, I really love your game, this and that. It looks really amazing. I'd love to play it on PlayStation or whatever. People were really cordial about it, and they were like, hey, they put like a subtweet under their prior one. It was like, we see a lot of you guys asking about the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation in general, 4 and 5, whatever. So that's something we're definitely considering. And, we're going to, visit that basically when we can. So, we don't know what deals they have in place and other stuff. So,
I'm not upset about it because it's like because when I looked at the team, I looked them up, like they're a very small studio.
Yeah.
Right. I think they're like 10 something people, or it's like, I think they're in the teens as far as the number of people at that studio. And because I think they have actually I don't know if they are, I think they've already initially released on PC or they have early access for PC, something like that.
Early access.
Yeah, thank you. But it's finally coming to console. Apparently, this has been a game that people have been eyeing for like a while now, and 'cause at the announcement that it was coming to Switch and Xbox, people were like, "Oh my God, I've been wanting to play this game forever." So I was like, "Okay, so this has been a game that's been out for at least in early access for a while," and so they're just now porting it to console. So it's gonna take them a minute if they finally do decide to come to PlayStation. It probably won't be that it because it's coming to Xbox and Switch at the end of the year, I believe. So if it comes to PS5, I don't expect it until like 26, 27 or something like that. But again, I'm not upset about it. Like small team, small resources, they got it. They're taking their time trying to get the game to be optimized the best they can, for the platforms that they've announced for. So I'm not gonna sit here and berate them and be like, why can't you do that same thing for PlayStation? Like, no. Take their time. They can do what they want. It's their game. They're trying to, get this out as as best as they can for the platforms they've announced. So it is what it is. That's just kind of how I approach it.
Yeah, no, like I said, I agree, and I think, like you said, they're a small team, and they're kind of well aware of the excitement from it, and hopefully this initial push will get them really supported and get them the financial
Yeah.
support and success that they need, and then they can look at making that push. I definitely think, you know, this this would have been a title. Yoshida wouldn't have let slip though. He would have flew in the
I know,
team from
right?
South
That's
Beach.
that's exactly what I said because I think it was initially shown, at least for me. I think we initially saw it at the Xbox showcase, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and that's literally what I said. I said, if Yoshida was still here, bro, this would have not have skipped PlayStation. I was like, he leaves for 1 second. Okay, he's gone for a week, and we miss a banger. But yeah, I miss Yoshida already, man.
Same.
They never announced who replaced him. Like,
They
I mean, I don't even
definitely
know
did.
if
Yeah,
I
they
don't
definitely
even
did
know
not.
if they've even hired anybody yet for his old job. I need to send them an email directly. I have some questions
Right.
and some suggestions. Let me know if you need somebody.
I was gonna say,
I can
Morgan
definitely
said,
help
"Put me
that.
in, coach. I know
Put
what to
me in,
do."
coach. I can definitely. I have an eye. Okay, I have the eye. I can spot indie gold from a mile away. Just let me in. Let me do it.
Hey, look, I'm all for you, for Morgan. For that position. So I vouch. So
Put you in as my recommendation. Like, yeah, call him. Yeah.
Absolutely, a glowing recommendation. And then you can announce your. I am currently heading to PlayStation headquarters to assume the new role. Get your announcement going.
Going from indie studio, like, as my job would bring me so much joy.
Right.
Bouncing from small studio to small, just trying out their games. Oh my God, I would love that.
Yeah, I'll await your inevitable picture next to Kojima in the I forget the name of the statue.
Oh yeah, his statue.
Yeah, in
Yeah, I
the
forgot what he calls his statue.
Ludens.
yeah,
Luden.
Luden.
Yeah, Ludens. Yeah.
Your inevitable Luden statue, photo when you happen to be in Tokyo
I
that
demand to be in Death Stranding 3. Put me in.
Right? Yo, I'm gonna be scanned first. Just store me in here. So whenever you get ready, I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, understandable. Omar, I, again, same thing. Um, Moon Studios, skipping at least temporarily. Surprising? No. Yes. How you feeling about it?
So I thought sales don't matter.
Oh, that's it.
Every
Okay.
every
I was
time we
waiting.
report, no, I'm coming. Every time we report on sales, oh, sales don't matter. You guys are fanboys. Everything in between. I'm like, everything is normally logical, but when you start talking about video game, all of a sudden, console wars takes over, and people lose the sight of reality. So this one, it not only makes sense, it's common sense, isn't it? Like PlayStation is market leader, and then next to it is Nintendo, and Xbox literally saying this is an Xbox to a toaster. So I'm not surprised at all. Especially like this game, this is not a game that they had the money to fund. This was crowdfunded, I think. I'm not sure about that. I do know that it's been in what you call it, early
Early
access
access.
for years now.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was
So
crowdfunded, but I know it's been in early access.
yeah, so it's crazy that
Not sure if it's for years now. I think it wasn't announced that long ago.
no, I
Yeah.
think it's been in early access at least for a year or two.
Mm, no,
I will look
whatever.
it up later.
Continue.
Yeah, it released in
Continue
early
on, Mark.
access in 2024 in April. It's just been a year.
So
Yeah.
it's a year, not years.
Okay, a year. Okay, but point taken. Like this game being worked at, and let's keep it a buck. The industry right now is not in a good headspace, financial headspace. So it absolutely makes sense why they're doing what they're doing. There is no malice behind it. It's strategical. They need sales. Like they need to recover. Like this is the same way I see that when they did with the 100 what you call it ending game that Copy was playing, that they released on the Switch. They didn't have the ability to port it on PlayStation because their studio was literally about to go bankrupt. So they needed a win by releasing it on Switch. And then if they had enough funds, they're gonna release it on PlayStation. I think that's gonna happen with this one. They're gonna release it first on PlayStation, then Switch, and if it does well, then they're gonna release it on Xbox. But get this, even if they release it on Xbox, people are gonna still want it to be in Game Pass day one. And if they reject, then they're screwed. So yeah, buy your game. Not only that, game sales absolutely matter. Like Game Pass is is not only is not a solution, it's been proven to work against the what you call it the devs. And it's crazy that they still believe game sales don't matter. Oh, and by the way, I've seen a few people say it. Do you know the solution to this whole situation with Moon Studio? Microsoft should just buy them. That way they can, they make sure that it's ported
That,
to their platform.
so they can close them, right? Yeah.
Right?
That's literally the solution to every single obstacle. Buy them, buy them, buy them, buy them.
Well, and the
Yeah,
other the other problem with the game, just get a Game Pass deal thing. Again, like I said, people assume that just because they want one means they get one. Like, just go to Game Pass. Like, I've heard that so many times, and I'm just like, I mean, they not handing them out like, by request. Like you going to order a burger. Like, I was like, people act like it's just like whatever. Like, oh, you need something, get a Game Pass deal. You know, and it's just like, yeah, that's not how that
apparently.
works.
Xbox isn't really handing them out like they used to. I mean, why would they? Because they have, you know, many developers under their belt now, right? They bought the big ass publisher of Activision and Bethesda, so they don't really need to hand out Game Pass deals like they used to back, when Game Pass first started, right? Where they were going around everywhere, essentially handing out Game Pass deals like you want one, you want one, you want one, right? And now because they don't necessarily need them as much as they used to. They're not paying as much as they used to, right? Where they would, be more willing to give you more money because they needed games in Game Pass, right? They didn't have as many studios, they didn't have as many first party games dropping, like once a month like they do now. So they needed, so they were more willing to pay higher to get, a game into Game Pass. But, and that's not just me saying it, like the developers have come out and said, they don't pay as much as they used to anymore. But it makes sense as to why they don't. So it's just, yeah, I mean, and you have to, like, and they said secure one in the first place, because just asking for one, or is not a guarantee to get you one. And it has to make sense for your company in particular. Like, and there's nothing wrong with Game Pass, because Game Pass is different for every game. Game Pass is not a one size fits all situation. As we've seen, some developers really like it, and other developers don't. For me, what I think it is with Game Pass is, I think your game will do well in Game Pass if you have a really good game. Okay, if you have a game that's a really big hit, it'll do well in Game Pass, because regardless of Game Pass, it won't impede on your sales, right? Like, for example, Pal World, right? Really good game, really a market that hasn't been scratched as far as like a multi-platform kind of Pokemon that's a little bit more adult. Like, it's something people really kind of wanted. So it was going to do well regardless of the fact that it was in Game Pass, right? Expedition 33, really great game, a more photorealist, realistic JRPG kind of game that people have been asking for, right? And it's done really well, written really well, great gameplay, all around great game. So it being in Game Pass didn't really impede its sales, right? Like, of course, it probably would have sold a little bit more if it hadn't been in Game Pass, but it wasn't going to keep it from still selling, good, right? But if your game is kind of either like really niche, or it's just, people don't really know about it, or it's just not good, it's just not going to do well in Game Pass. And Game Pass will hinder the little bit of sales that you may have gotten. At least that's how I feel how Game Pass works, essentially.
Yeah, no, I agree. Omar, you're good on your point?
Just again, we have evidence. Even people that went to Game Pass, they regretted it. So Game Pass is absolutely not the end all be all. But yeah, no, that's it. We will see what North for the Weekend is gonna be. If it's gonna turn out to be good or not, and then we will see if they're gonna put it to $8 or not.
Agreed. Weeb, hey, what's your take on the Moon Studio situation?
Well, I guess Microsoft is broke, right? That's the conclusion. That I mean, that they always say that, right? And PlayStation isn't able to get something, they're broke. So yeah, guess that
they're no
guess that's
longer
the
opening
conclusion
the
we.
infinite money war chest.
Yes, yes. The bill
Oh man.
collectors arrive. Uh,
Oh
no,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it did. Yeah, I mean, makes total sense. Why the hell would you waste your time putting on Xbox when you know that people are not buying it, and the only option you have is in Game Pass, and they're not offering those deals anymore. So, yeah, I mean, what choice you have? I mean, I do agree with Morgan, and maybe they're sort of trying to play Microsoft, sort of baiting them, like, yeah, come on, giving the bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, not sure they're gonna fall for that, but yeah, I mean, you can blame them for trying, right? Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, okay. And that's you do bring up a good point, Morgan. That there's a very distinct difference between um, the in general the the sentiment amongst the PlayStation fans who are asking in general much more politely for, hey, can a game come to PlayStation? In the rare cases that it skips PlayStation, rather than immediately jumping to, oh, it's conspiracy, oh, there PlayStation's money hiding, oh, I'm gonna boycott them now because they're not bringing their
Mhm.
game to Game Pass or to Xbox. Like, yeah, I mean, what kind of message is that send? Like, do you really think they're gonna cave? They're gonna say, oh, I mean, God forget that Xbox fanboy 69 is not gonna buy my games anymore. I guess gonna have to spend a couple of million to port over the game to Xbox now. Like, it, it's the fucking audacity of these people. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, and that's and maybe the difference is also like we play games. Like in general, I'd say there are of course exceptions, but I say most PlayStation gamers play games, right? And so if you're like if you have a steady stream of games to play, you're not complaining about maybe when one game, that you might be interested in fall through. Like okay, yeah, I would love to play, but I have other things to do. I can wait, when it might well finally comes, right?
Mhm.
Um, and and yeah, I guess maybe the other side of as I said, like we play games. Like if the only thing that you're doing is basically just being waving the flag, and not really playing games, which is I've heard from some sources that certain fan base doesn't do that. Well, then, yeah, then I can understand that you're much more concerned with, okay, what games are not coming to your platform than actually playing the games that are on your platform. And that's, well, sad, I guess, but I guess that's also the only reason why Xbox is still alive, because there are these diehard fanboys that are sticking to it no matter what. And at some certain level, that's commendable that you're sticking to it, that you're so loyal. But on the other hand, like you're really wasting your time. Like there could be so many great games you could be playing right now, and all you're doing is typing on your keyboard and sending angry tweets and making YouTube videos about conspiracy theories instead of enjoying the great games you have. And you know, if there is a game that's skipping your platform, you really want to play it, go get it on that platform if that's the only option you have. I mean, like another gorgeous indie that skipped PlayStation and apparently forever is Katana Zero. Like that's a fucking amazing game. I recently replayed it, and that's on everything except PlayStation. And yeah, I don't know why. Probably will never solve that mystery, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna hate the developer for it. I'm not gonna send angry tweets because it's not on my preferred platform, even though I have actually like I have it twice. Bought on Steam and on Switch.
hmm
You know, I don't care. Like if I really want to play it, I'll get it on that platform I want. And if it's not worth it, getting that platform for one game, then don't. There's so many other games that I still have to play and are coming. And yeah, and enjoy the smorgasbord of games that you have available, uh, you know, on any platform except I guess Xbox. So yeah, those are my 2 cents.
No, yeah, I
Oh,
agree
three.
100%. Um, keeping it Xbox, in other news from them, Xbox backtracked on their push later this year for $80 games. They were originally going to be starting the $80 push with their games for the Outer Worlds 2. Um, and in tandem with that announcement, also announced that there would be a physical release um, with the Outer Worlds 2 and Ninja Gaiden 4. So quite a few people, seem to be excited about that because they've been really, speaking of getting skipped, a lot of Xbox guys have been feeling some type of way about getting skipped even by Microsoft directly when it comes to getting a physical release. of a lot of their games. So to hear that not only are they backing down on that, at least as far as the Outer Worlds is concerned, um, but also uh, getting physical releases for these two upcoming Xbox titles. So I'm sure they're definitely going to be watching that closely, seeing how many people do pick those up physically when those titles do launch, and just kind of gauging the difference and seeing if they really think it's worth coming out with it as much as people uh, have fanfare over that on Twitter and so on and so forth, consistently complaining about not getting a physical edition as it pertains to Xbox. Um, Again, for me personally, I mean, I kind of saw this coming as someone who I'm definitely an Obsidian fan. But yeah, I thought this was absolutely the wrong game to make that move on. If you're trying to make an $80 push, you need to save that for something like Fable or, their previously canceled game, Perfect Dark, or so on and so forth. Like, you need to save that for your big hitters. And while I am definitely anticipating the Outer Worlds 2, it's definitely a more double A game, um, which looks, again, much improved. And nothing wrong with that because it looks really great. Um, but yeah, the push for that, it was just kind of wild to me. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all that they pulled back from it. But the question is the damage done? Have some people kind of sworn it off and committed to other games in the meantime, around the time frame that the game was going to release, um, and just kind of go from there. Um, I know myself, if I permanently add it to my library or pick it up, it would be something that'd be more like a Black Friday pickup, um, as opposed to picking it up day one. Uh, Despite all that, mainly just because, I mean, it's just coming out in such a crowded window. There's a lot of stuff to be played, so it'll be interesting to see how uh, the combination of these two announcements affects everything. Um, Omar, uh, looking at this, them backing down, mainly on the $80 announcement and then the physical releases. What are you thinking about? How do you feel about this?
So, unlike you, I'm actually surprised that they turn around. And I love how they're trying to pretend that they're good guys by doing that clip. Like, who are you? Who are you trying to deceive? This was a bad move from the start. But with that being said, I'm curious. I want to know what their sales numbers were. I have the feeling they were not doing well. Pre-order numbers.
Yeah, I can see that.
Otherwise, I can't see any reason to, uh, to backtrack like this. And yeah, no, it's not for the good of the people. Absolutely not. It companies, when they do things, it's for the good of the companies, eh? Yes, sometimes it come over, it's good for the people, but no, it's absolutely for their bottom line themselves. So I would not be surprised if their pre-orders were abysmal to the point they're like, oh, we need to bite a bullet and just accept no $80 game for this one. So yeah, no, I'm genuinely just waiting for Jason Schreier or someone else to break down the numbers. Like, yeah, no, their what you call it, pre-order numbers were beyond red. I, I would not be surprised. Like, that's the only reason I can think of to backtrack like that. And again, they want to pretend that they're the good guys. But nah, people are giving them shit in the comment section. So I'm happy that even people are saying, yeah, no, this is not a move done to be with for the people. But yeah, I'm rehashing my comment. At the end of the day, do I think that this is a good move? Yes. Do I think that they're doing it because they want to be nice? No. I'm done.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Morgan, how are you feeling about this retraction from Xbox? Are you surprised, either by that or the physical game announcements?
Mm, no, I wasn't surprised. I was honestly the only thing I was surprised about was them raising their games to 80. Um, I didn't think that this was the correct game to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
Not only like Nate said, because this is a more of a smaller game and not like indie, but it's just not that, bigger AAA kind of game like a Fable or a COD. But also because Obsidian's been the one kind of doing the most supporting for Xbox, right? They've released like the most games with Grounded 2, Grounded 1, um, Pentiment, my personal favorite. And then this game, it's like they've been releasing so many hits. Like I feel like it was kind of wrong in a way for Xbox to kind of throw them under the bus and make them be the poster child for $80. With all, like I said, with everything good that they've been doing for the company, I just feel like it was wrong to kind of put that burden upon Obsidian. And you could tell like they were not a fan of the fact that it was their game that was going to get 80. Every time people would ask them or ask the game, or I'm sorry, not ask the game, but ask the developers like, what's up with the $80? Why is the game $80? They would immediately say it was not our decision. And the funny thing is they would put it, they would direct people towards Xbox, like this was an Xbox decision, this was not ours.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to speak with them. Like they weren't shy about passing the buck over to Xbox.
As they should.
And yeah, as they should, because it was not on them. And I felt bad because I was just like, they really didn't deserve that kind of burden to be placed upon them, right? This is just the second game of IP that has done well and people liked, but it's not that this big tentpole that under the Xbox umbrella that probably could have handled that burden of $80, right? Like a COD, right? Because I kind of thought that the first game to be 80 for Xbox would be Call of Duty, because that's the kind of IP that could probably handle that, right? It's huge, as we know, right? It's one of the top games every single year. It has a dedicated fan base who buy this game every year, regardless of how good or bad the game is, right? Because you always know a game is a seller when nobody really cares about the Metacritic, right? Nobody ever checks the Metacritic for Call of Duty. It's just, okay, here's a new COD, so we're gonna play it. Same way with like 2K or Madden, right? Nobody cares about the Metacritic for these games. It's just, okay, here's the next entry into this game, I'm gonna play it, right? So COD could have handled that, but yeah, like I said, giving it to Obsidian was just like it was just messed up for multiple reasons. And now people can focus on the actual game and not worry about, and not the focus of the conversation for Outer Worlds won't be the price, right? It'll now be about the game. So that's a good thing. Yeah, but like Omar said, this was definitely not done out of the kindness of their hearts. I see people all online saying, see, gamers spoke up, and gamers got mad, and now they backtrack. No, they backtracked because the money wasn't. Okay, the pre-orders on Steam and PlayStation were probably abysmal, and they saw that, okay, this isn't looking good. We funded this game. It's, it was the big game at the end of the direct, right? Because every direct that they've had that, one big game that kind of had their state of play, right? Get the breakdown of the game and the gameplay, and that was Outer Worlds 2 and Grounded 2 was the big two games they had at the end of their Xbox showcase, I should say. So this was their big end of the year game, and if the numbers aren't looking hot, right, that's going to be an issue. So I think they saw that and they realized, okay, we have to fall back, Why
Yeah.
they ever thought that they would be able to get away with that, I don't know. I think Xbox is just kind of getting kind of big for their britches. I think because they see that a lot of the games that they've purchased, like that, a lot of Activision and of games are ending up at the top of the sales chart, that they think that, okay, they're a big player in the market now, so they can be the one to be the first to initially push the new pricing. And they basically got told real quick, like, no, like, you're not Nintendo. Please go back. Like,
Yeah.
you know, go back, straight to jail, right? Essentially. Um, yeah. So, and at least with when it came to Mario Kart World, right? They at least had a way for people to purchase the game without it, without it being 80, right? They could have got it bundled for 50. So there was a way to get the game for cheaper. And Mario is an iconic IP. He's like the mascot of gaming itself, right? It's
Yeah.
it's like the one IP that if any game had to go to 80, it would make sense, right? Regardless of how you feel about Mario or Mario Kart, right? It's that big of an IP. Yeah, to think that with Mario Kart World, what Nintendo was pricing up at 80, that Xbox would match that with Outer Worlds 2 was ridiculous. And that's not any shot against Outer Worlds or Obsidian. I think Obsidian is a a really good developer. But again, the IP of Outer Worlds is not that strong to be trying to put an $80 price tag on it. This will be interesting when it comes to, I think, the bigger picture of the pricing market, because now that they've retracted their $80, as far as at least for this year, it's going to be very hard for them to come back with an $80 price tag.
No,
right?
I agree.
Because people are not going to think, oh, we can just speak up or we can just not pre-order, and Xbox will fold and they'll go buy back to 70, right? Now, as a consumer, that's great for me, but I'm just looking at it through a company lens. This is going to be very hard for Xbox to convince people to pay $80 in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see when they try to implement that. If I was Xbox, I would wait until the next generation. Like, I wouldn't even bother trying to do it now. The bell has already been unrung. It's too late. You reverted. Trying to do it again next year, I don't think will go over well a second time. So you might as well just hold off, because according to them, they're starting their next generation in 2027. All right, just hold off these next year and a half, and then just use the excuse of, oh, well, it's a new generation, so we can charge like a new set of prices, because of the tech and all the other bullshit reasons, right, that they give for charging an additional $10, right? Like, oh, it's new gen, all that good stuff. Hold off until then, because I don't think it will go over well if you try it again next year, regardless of the game. I just don't think people are gonna be able to stomach it a second time. But yeah, it's great that they lower the price, as far as like a consumer point goes. Personally, I'm kind of wary of Outer Worlds 2. I didn't play the first one, but it's on Game Pass, so maybe I'll give it a try, and if I like it, I'll buy it on PlayStation. Now that it's at least at a decent price now.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a very interesting week for Xbox, especially with this whole pricing scheme. I don't, again, it made no sense, but I'm glad it was retracted. And yes, the whole tweet from Obsidian, saying, oh, they kind of worded it like it was in their game, like, oh, we heard you, and like the Galactic Force listened or something. I don't know, it was cringe.
Yeah,
It's just
I did see that.
Okay, like, we get it, it's you kind of wording it like the game, but this is kind of serious, so I wouldn't necessarily word it like that. But okay, cool. Yeah, I'm honestly Go ahead.
What's really funny is that the entire theme of Outer Worlds is out of control corporate greed.
Yeah, the irony. It's like, okay, we kind of read the room a little bit. Like, it's but okay, I guess like it kind of fit the theme of Outer Worlds a little bit, but it was a lot. I'm glad they did it. Again, I don't think Xbox is in a position to be the second publisher to try to push 80. Like, I know they're winning a lot of hearts with Game Pass, and they're releasing at a much better cadence than they used to, but I still don't think they're in a position to be like, yes, we're gonna be that second publisher to push to 80. Like, nobody wants to hear that from you, Xbox. Like, just chill, okay? Especially, in the light of all of the layoffs and everything that y'all been doing, and now you're trying to push 80, and no. Just chill out. But yeah, that's that's really all I got to say about the $80 price tag.
Yeah, no doubt. Weeb, how you feeling about it, man?
Yeah, I mean, there are some theories I heard that they actually always meant to do 70 and just I don't know, want to pretend they're the good guys or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I do believe Rodney Pitchford did that when he said, "Oh yeah, you know, Borderlands 4, is worth 80 or whatever," and then not doing it because that makes him look like the good guy. But he probably
Mm-hmm.
never intended to do that. Um, Here, yeah, I mean, I generally believe that the pre-orders were so fucking bad that they didn't have a choice but to lower the price because they were realizing that nobody's buying it. And yeah, like you said, it's the wrong game to do that. I mean, it was always supposed to be an indie. Like, did they even said that like Outer Worlds is never going to be a AAA game. So why the hell are you charging AAA pricing? Like, makes no fucking sense. So yeah, I mean, it in a way very predictable. It I suppose the only thing I can credit them for is that they actually cave and not stubbornly decide, okay, yeah, no, let's stick to 80 and just let the game fail, and then I don't know, close Obsidian or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a brain dead move that they should have never done. In fact, there's no reason to even go for 80 or 90, which would probably have been over here. Um, the same reason that Mario Kart isn't even worth 80 or 90. Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, I've played Mario Kart. Like, it's just Mario Kart. There's nothing about that warrants that price. Like if you're only playing it, like you can finish that in one evening. If you're just going for completing all the racetracks. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but only Nintendo can really. I think that's the lesson here. Only Nintendo can get away with this bullshit. If you're not Nintendo, you're you're not gonna get away with it.
No,
So yeah,
I agree.
that's the lesson learned.
Agreed. Yeah, they definitely tried to pull that trigger on that after Nintendo did
I like
their
how
Mario
PlayStation
Kart.
just stood there and was just like, have fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, let us know how that goes. They were just real quiet. They didn't say nothing. Then the Ghost price came out, and they were just like, yeah, it's gonna be 70. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna stay right there.
They said, yeah, okay, you're gonna feel what it's like to be the second to come out with the pricing. See how you like your Xbox.
Right. They tried it. But yeah, in some more interesting news and more positive light, Sony and Bandai Namco announced a strategic alliance where Sony will acquire 16 million shares of Bandai Namco, or 2.5% stake. Uh, the main reason behind the strategic alliance is to strengthen the global reach of anime and manga IPs. Sony and Bandai Namco will expand their historical collaboration across games, anime, and music. Sony will assist in expanding products and services based on Bandai Namco IPs. Sony and Bandai Namco will develop and produce new IPs in anime and manga, and joint investment for future projects are planned. Again, obviously, this is mainly like a Sony focus, but the cool thing about that is Bandai Namco and them definitely have a major vested interest. Obviously, Sony owning Crunchyroll, um, and obviously having a major expertise in game making along with them. Looking to expand some of these sounds really great to me. Um, Given that they both also make games and also publish anime. This was something that I've definitely talked about with Morgan a couple times where I'm like, there's a lot of really interesting IPs in anime that don't really get properly explored outside of like a fighting game or something. So it seems like they're definitely uh, potentially looking at other ways to expand into that. Um, as well as a number of other things. PlayStation is definitely very well aware of what's really hot and popular. Obviously, Crunchyroll recently had a record breaker with Solo Leveling being the most watched anime, and just breaking all kinds of records. So I know they see the potential in a lot of these IPs, expanding them further. Like I said, if it's an anime into video games or video game with an anime or so on and so forth, I just think it could result in something really interesting for the future between these two really good companies as far as when it comes to expanding some of these anime IPs. Weeb, how you feeling about this one, man?
Well, first of all, those are loved shares, so I hope everybody can have a seat. But boom. Uh, um, yeah, I mean it is interesting. I suppose not just for anime. We've seen that they have also handing over some of their IPs in terms of gaming, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean there's absolutely a lot of potential in anime, even though generally anime games uh, should be you know. Considered with caution because there's a lot of them, of course, similar to movies and TV shows. They're just generally
Cash grab.
quick cash grabs to yeah to profit from the popularity of something. But there are some gems there, absolutely, and maybe even positive trend going forward. But yeah, I mean Bandai has a wealth of, and I mean, yeah, I guess the Crunchyroll is just the streaming service, so they don't really own the IP. I guess I think it's kind of complicated with anime because there are different rights there. I think Bandai has a lot of rights in terms of the game, but not necessarily anything beyond that. Um, so yeah, but absolutely would love to see more. I mean, that maybe is the potential there. That what if Sony could leverage that relationship and actually manage to get, just like with Spider-Man, get one of their AAA studios make a AAA anime game, right, based on a
Mm-hmm.
popular
Oh,
anime IP. Yep.
Absolutely.
Weibo, One
Imagine that.
Piece.
Yes, yes, I know.
Can
I
you
know you were going to say
imagine
that.
this? Can you like every single One Piece game for one part of bit trash? Let's give it a buck. Pirate Warrior 4, yeah, fine. But can you imagine a One Piece game on the level of care of a Spider-Man IP? Like this
Well,
is
I've heard rumors that Naughty Dog is working on a One Piece.
nice. I know you're fucking with me, but okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
don't do not fall for that.
I mean, imagine that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, would be probably a very different One Piece game, but still,
Right.
right? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting to see where this goes. I mean, and I think, yeah, Bandai publishes Sunrise games like that, the Gundam series as well. So personally, I would love to see a Votom's game because they're also celebrating an anniversary. They're going to be a remastered version of the series, so definitely would love to see something like that because that's my go-to real Robo anime. Legit. Sorry, got nothing on Votom's. I'm just saying. Um, but yeah, I mean, interesting times we live in. So yeah, looking forward to what this will bring. I mean, like I said, Sony is making, despite the fact they have some harebrained decisions in terms of their service games, they're making the right moves with their their single player games. I mean, they have their refocusing their single player studios on delivering greatness, and then they're making these moves into new markets, with China, with India and the Middle East, and potentially going further, not just different markets, but different cross media potential IPs or whatever. So yeah, I mean that it's very interesting what they're doing. And that's kind of the thing is never listen to Phil when he says oh yeah, gaming isn't growing. Yeah, no shit, it's not growing because you're Xbox, and if you're retreating from markets instead of expanding into them, that yeah, it I still say it's absolutely a genius move that Sony just saw how the wind was blowing. So okay, yeah, we're gonna try to break into the Chinese market, and they succeeded, and that's a massive market that of untapped potential, and they just did it, and that's how you maintain to be the market lead. That's how you show initiative. That's how you stay on top and not by just destructively buying everything under the sun, and then decide, okay, yeah, we spent too much money, we're gonna close studios and cancel games and put our shit on everything. Yeah, but yeah, that's a whole different discussion. So yeah, good news.
No doubt. Morgan, how are you feeling about this one? I'm thinking about some potential, you know, a solid Hunter x Hunter game, or
Oh man,
other things that
don't
could
even
might result from this.
gonna get me going right now. Oh shit. Sorry. Yeah, I think that this partnership sounds, well, they've already been, partnering, as we know from what was it, earlier this year or last year, that we got the announcement of the Bandai Sony partnership. I can't remember, but yeah, we knew they were partnering close, right? And we've kind of seen that with the at least a little bit with the Hot Golf and the Patapon, the game that's being IPs owned by PlayStation that are being published by Bandai, right? It's just a little bit of it, and then Bandai owns, what was it, Katakawa, right? That they own, I believe.
They
Um,
have invested in Kadokawa, but they don't own them
Yeah, they have a
flat out.
stake. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but we know Sony's big into anime, right? They bought Crunchyroll, Funimation. They did the thing everybody wanted, which kind of merged the two together, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the apps individually, especially Funimation, were complete shit, to be honest. I had previously been subscribed to both, and their functionality was like a 15-year-old made an app and put anime on it, but the the apps were just trash essentially. But yeah, ever since PlayStation's bottom, Crunchyroll has, and that Funimation has essentially been absorbed into Crunchyroll. The Crunchyroll app is very nice and it's very sleek. So I was definitely happy about that. But yeah, they've been getting a big foothold into anime. I think Sony sees, obviously, they're still a Japanese company, but they know the potential and the rise, especially recently, of anime, right? Anime is a growing business right now, booming really. I think it's probably the biggest it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
We see distributions like Netflix and Hulu and um, different companies like even Disney, getting into anime because they're seeing how much money is in anime, right? I think the top shows on Netflix right now, I think, are anime. They're just making a ton of money right now, especially if you're making good anime specifically, right? And we see all of them, having starting to get their own anime studios so they can keep producing more. And like I said, it's big business. So I think Sony wants to kind of double down on that, and give us as much as we can. I'll take it, especially from a publisher that I like, right? They know their anime, they know their games. So who better to make some good anime games, you know? And I think partnering up with Bandai is another good publisher that you would want to help you make those games and anime. So I really don't see anything negative coming from this. I know some people are screaming like monopoly, like, oh man, Sony's got a monopoly on anime now, and there's still so many different branches in anime and anime distribution. Sony doesn't have a monopoly. It's just people. It's just that the companies that people know about are, the main companies like Funimation and Crunchyroll are owned by Sony. So people just assume that Sony owns all anime, but it's not true. Um,
Very true.
but yeah, I don't see anything negative coming from this unless Sony, goes crazy and tries to just give us like cheap and uh, you know, terrible anime and games. But I honestly just don't see that. At least from what we've seen, like we've said, as far as single player games go, they still handle that with care. I don't see them just releasing trash ass anime or trash ass anime games um, in the near future. So I can't wait to see what this leads to. I hope we do get more diverse set of anime games, because the ones we generally have are ones I'm not just interested in playing. So maybe we'll get a little bit of diversity in what type of games that you know are developed that are based on anime IP. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
No, absolutely. I agree. A lot of potential here for what could come of this in a lot of different spots, like you said, whether it be anime itself, anime games, so on and so forth, and whatever other collaborations that they go with here. Uh, Omar, how you feeling about this
So
one?
yeah, I just said it. One Piece. Um, it's a meme, but real talk though, discussing about anime games, most of them are either fighting games or they're 1 versus 100, like Dynasty Warrior esque. We don't get enough story-driven
Yeah,
narrative games that are anime. And the crazy part is, I never understood why. Like, I would absolutely play a Samurai Champloo game. Are you kidding me? I would play so many anime games because the concept, like, we enjoy it as an anime. Why would we not enjoy it as a video game? And that's the frustrating part. But now with PlayStation at the helm, who knows? We're gonna have some support, and we're gonna see some what you call it um, initiative being taken, and most importantly, the level being upgraded. We've seen it. They did it with Spider-Man. They did it with superhero games. Uh, Batman was past, and Spider-Man took it to the next level. Let's see if they can do the same with what you call it anime games now. Now, with that being said, PlayStation is on a whole different ballgame, isn't they? Like, they're literally looking at which area of the market can they tap in, and they're doing so. China Hero Project, Middle East Project, uh, you name it, they're doing it. And the investments that they're making, they are tactical, eh? FromSoft here, now Bandai Namco there. Both of them distribute anime and manga, so it it's strategical, and I like that. I
Yeah,
don't use Crunchyroll myself, but I've heard people complain about Crunchyroll, and people say the Crunchyroll is good. So I can't comment about that part. But yeah, no, for the Bandai Namco thing, The world is absolutely their oyster. I'm looking forward to see what they bring to the table.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with that. Um, and then I guess on to our last thing here. The question Omar had. Um, what what gaming take do you
Oh,
have?
can I explain it?
I mean, I don't think it needs to be explained, but sure.
Basically, on Twitter I saw a meme where there
We
is
saw it.
the one what you call it, one movie, and
Yes.
everyone is pointing their sword on the dude, and they're like,
You know
"What
that's
would
not
you?"
new, right?
Yeah, that's a very
Yeah,
old
no,
meme,
Yeah,
Omar.
no, but
yeah.
You don't need to explain.
Everybody knows the
We,
meme,
we,
Omar.
but
You don't
we,
have to
we know what it
explain.
no,
means.
no, but the
Yes.
conversation
No, no,
is
yes.
but the conversation is interesting.
God. Okay, Omar. This is a question that's been asked many a times, but okay, if you want to ask it, it's fine.
Yeah. So
Basically,
essentially, Omar's thing is what gaming take would essentially have people, pulling out their pitchforks at you, and basically, essentially, have half of gaming Twitter mad at you for whatever gaming take that is. Um, did you want to go first since it was yours?
I'll go first. Those games don't need difficulty setting. Period.
That
I don't.
that will not get anybody
Yeah, I
angry
was
at
like,
you.
Yeah, I think that's
No, no,
that's
no,
not a,
no,
that's a
no,
very
no,
popular
no, no,
take.
You
no.
did not understand the assignment,
yeah,
Omar.
that
No,
Omar
no,
His
just
own
no,
did.
no, no,
assignment.
no, no, trust me. People will get angry about it. If you think that
No, no,
game,
no, no. That's not how it works, Omar. It doesn't
Omar.
mean anything
okay,
if
fine.
somebody
That's
gets
the
angry about
Okay,
the
popular
fine.
opinion.
That's
majority.
yeah, that's the
Okay, fine.
popular opinion. So you have to find something that's
Yeah.
not
Okay
the
then.
popular opinion.
Okay. Game
Okay, try again,
gaming
Omar.
gaming should have never been mainstream. Should have never gotten mainstream.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, I don't really have anything to say about that because I mean it's too late for that. Um,
Yeah, I know it's too late. This is what I said. It should have never gotten there. But yeah.
yeah, no real discussion needed to be had on that one. We know what you mean with that. Um,
Yeah, you know my take on that.
I'll make it very easy. Uh, for me because I already know what we get people. Going that way. Honestly, I don't like 90% of the games that Nintendo makes these days. So,
How dare you?
yeah. So,
I'm a platformer dude, that's why it hit me.
And
Even though I don't have a Switch. They do make unique games. I'll give them that.
I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, the longtime franchises that tons of people go crazy over, the Donkey Kongs, the Marios, the Zeldas. I've grown out of those. It doesn't do anything for me. Again, I objectively uh, think that they're good games, but for me personally, like I tried to play Mario Odyssey, bored me to tears. It's just not my thing anymore, and I'm okay with that because I got plenty of other games to play. But yeah, people are in like absolute disbelief that you can just not care for the majority of the catalog for Nintendo. Everybody just a lot of people just have this thing that their entire catalog is unfallible gold, and how dare you not love every game that they make. But yeah, that's like I said, that's an easy one for me. Uh, Morgan, what you got?
Um, I guess mine would be uh being a walking simulator is not a bad thing. The game
Okay,
being labeled a walking simulator is not bad.
that
Like people
that's fair.
people use the term walking simulator as a negative. I don't deem that as a negative.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that, and yeah, that would work because a lot of people do use that as like a negative connotation. But plenty of
Mm.
stuff that people have said that I've been like, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. So, yeah, I agree. Weeb, what you got?
Souls games were a mistake.
Hey.
Yeah, you would definitely get some people upset with that one.
Yeah, they'd be like, "How dare you, sir?"
Okay, you just say that because you don't know how to fucking play.
What did he say?
Oh God.
Souls games
He
were a
says
mistake.
Souls games. Yeah.
What? Repeat that, but both of you talk at the same time.
Go ahead, Morgan.
He said Souls games were a mistake.
How dare you?
I see. I understood the assignment, Omar.
without-
Unlike a certain somebody.
Without Soul Game, we would have never gotten to 33. Expedition 33.
Whoa,
What?
motherfucker!
Wow.
What?
Don't
Wait,
you
what?
know me?
Jesus,
that
Doctor
is completely
Stretch.
incorrect. That is
It's
completely incorrect.
absolutely
That's a
No.
cap, man.
a lot
You
of
just had to
elements
get your
from
legs
Soul Game
beaten.
No, a
are
lot of
literally
it actually,
Yeah.
actually, a lot of it was inspired by Lost Odyssey, which came out like way before then. So I don't know what you're talking about,
Mhm.
sir.
No, I'm talking about when you read and and everything returns.
Bro, there are
and the
hella
enemy-
games that do that. That
Wait,
has
hold up.
nothing to do.
That isn't even an integral mechanic game. So that's not like, oh man, we would have lost out on on
but
resting and enemies coming back, guys.
Before Salt never ended. So far I
Omar,
remember.
Omar, that's
So
not
wait,
an.
Omar, are
that
you
is-
really saying that enemies never respawn before Souls games?
No, not to such degree. I'm talking about literally resting at checkpoint. Like literally.
Omar, that is
not.
not an integral part of that game. We would not have missed that if it didn't exist. You're saying that as if that would have changed Expedition 33 exponentially if that was not in the game.
Bonfire, literally a
Omar,
game changer.
Omar, you're trying
wait
and
a
it's
minute,
not
wait a
working.
minute.
Okay.
Bonfire is literally a game changer.
Oh, hold the fuck up. The bonfire in fucking Souls games has nothing to do with you being at a damn campfire in that damn game. That is zero relation to Expedition, sir. I was like, while the bonfire thing maybe
literally a bonfire.
Motherfucker, there are bonfires in fucking PS1 games. What are you talking about?
He's trying so hard to relate it to kind of justify the existence of Souls games.
I was like, what?
He's like, but you guys like Expedition 33. Omar, that's not gonna work, bro.
Omar, you're proving my point.
You are definitely
I
proving
agree.
the point.
Look, I said it myself. I agree with you. There's an absolute oversaturation with Soul Game, but Soul Game was never a mistake. I disagree with that comment.
I mean, we know because we've understood
We
the
know,
assignment.
that's the assignment, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Weeb for
So
understanding.
we did a job.
Thank you.
Absolutely did. I felt it.
Man fell for his own topic, man.
For
He was
those,
just like, wait a damn minute.
For those of you that are new here, Omar almost made it an entire episode without getting his legs beat in, till he had to say something crazy
Almost.
on the very last topic.
Hey, you got.
You almost made it, Omar.
Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you Stretch Armstrong for that ridiculous reach. Like, oh my god, bro! You
What about Expedition?
Look.
Omar was like, I'm a reach from Earth to the next Milky Way galaxy.
Well, eh? No, but there is like the Soul genre has brought a lot of good, but
Omar,
also a lot of bad.
You don't have a side because what you said was we wouldn't have Expedition 33 without Souls games.
Yeah, I about to say that kind of lost all credibility when you said that.
Now, if you would have made your other point, which you were just making, that they've brought other things, yes, I agree, they brought other things, but they ain't got nothing to do with Expedition 33.
See,
My assumption was that the vampire was a thing that started with Soul Game. That's on me.
Yeah, but you are using the word bonfire as if they were invented in their games. They're not. They're talking about the mechanic of the way
Yeah.
bonfires are used were
Yeah.
were for Souls games, not the actual bonfire. That's why I said you
Oh, you
gotta be
know.
specific.
Fuck me, dude. Come on. When I said
But
okay, so
that's what you said.
no. That's fair because I'm a Souls person and I know what bonfire means. Like when you talk Souls game and you say bonfire, you know that way you respect
Yeah,
where you
Yeah,
fast travel and everything between.
yeah,
Okay, I get it. Too.
and they did not invent that.
yeah. They also didn't invent that, but yeah.
That's a reason for not knowing that.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that is it for our show today. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to everybody who came through. I had a ton of people come through who said they were gonna come through for the show that showed up. So shout out to everybody. Eric made
Just
the show. What's up?
I'll say just to interject really quick, since we were talking about Expedition 33. Shout out to Expedition 33 for getting their flowers from fellow Japanese developers, even though some people swear that the Japanese don't recognize Expedition 33 as a, JRPG light game. The real ones came out. They got to go to Kojima Studios, and they also got to go to Square Enix, and they exchanged ideas. All right, they came to celebrate the success of their game and exchange ideas between the studios. So shout out to Sandfall for getting the recognition because they deserve it. They made a great game, and hopefully these exchange of ideas will go in one particular direction to one particular studio, and they will take notes, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more turn-based games and from these main Japanese developers, hopefully. So yay, I'm happy about that. But
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, like no, genuinely, shout out to Sample for this one. Like 33 changed the industry, so with how they're behaving, and I'm curious what the next IP is, and I'm curious if Square Enix is gonna take it to heart and get to work.
Yeah, I mean, well, they've got a Dragon Quest game coming up, so we'll we'll see what they've learned. We'll see what they implement. We'll see what they've been working on and see how they've been going. But yeah, the industry as a whole has been doing really well with cultural exchanges and developer exchanges with the Sandfall team and, of course, the Stellar Blade director going around and meeting a bunch of the Japanese developers as well as game science. So yeah, a lot of just developers out here crossing ideas and getting to meet up and really just celebrating each other. And honestly, we need that now more than ever because the industry has been crazy from a publisher standpoint. So to see a lot of developers come together and celebrate each other's works and exchange ideas and talk about what they went through in the development process, outside of GDC. You don't need that one time a year to exchange and really get to know each other and make some advancements and ultimately resulting in better video games for us to play. But yeah, like I said, thanks everybody who came out. Like I said, I already said Eric, Thrifty made it, Hero, Oolong. Yeah, even Jolson made it today. Jolson ain't been in here like ever. Ryan, Viper still made it even on vacation. Cyber Dragon, Will. So yeah, again, hit the like button. Like I said, man, it was just a lot of fun having so many people come through today, and great conversations that we had and set the record straight on all this craziness going on out here. And all these people trying to jump, from the smallest bit of information to the largest conclusions. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's all about gaming, and hopefully you guys get to enjoy your games today on the Saturday. Hopefully you've been gaming while, maybe watching the podcast. But yeah, it's all about gaming at the end of the day. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get to our outros and get up out of here. Weave, where can the people find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. Yeah, it was a great show. Thanks everybody for showing up. And yeah, hopefully next week we have some other interesting things to talk about. So yeah, and of course, Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Morgan, where can the people find you, ma'am?
Yeah, you can find me also on Twitter at ChillBandit. My PlayStation hopefully finished, and I'm Death Stranding. I definitely finish it. But yeah, let's keep it gaming. Like everybody, keep your hats on. Calm down, take a breath. It'll be okay. I promise. But hopefully, we'll have some, even better news to talk about next week. So yeah, Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
All right, and Stretch Armstrong, where can the people find you, sir? Oh, that would be
You can find me at Caramel Job on Twitter. Shout out to everyone that came through. Hit that like button. Share the stream out. Shout out to Cyber Dragon, living up in real life. Happy birthday, man. Enjoy it. And with that being said, see you next
Birthday.
week. And most importantly, play your game.
Absolutely.
Oh, and congratulations, Borderlands 4 Golden. Let's go!
Yep, and yeah, happy birthday to Cyber Dragon. I did not know it was my man's birthday, so happy birthday to him, a fellow Cancer there. Or he might be a Leo. I don't know. I forget how that works when it gets later in the year. Like it's like the closer you get to the other sign, sometimes you're that instead. I forget when the actual cutoff date is, but well,
It's not real.
Yeah, well, I meant whatever the sign is for the month or whatever. But a fellow July baby, nonetheless. But yeah, like I said, you can find me on Twitter or Blue Sky at the Real Innate. But yeah, as for us, we're gonna get up out of here, and it was a great show. Had a great time. Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation it is. I'm out.